buckle in. The NASCAR Busch Series in the Wild Wild West at Pikes Peak, Colorado. Harvick, Biffle, Keller, and Green renewing their battle for the 2001 Series Championship.
Stay on, you're the man now. Keep digging, buddy. Go, 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 go. Go on, go on. Carry it on, buddy, carry it on. Good job, guys.
Time to fire them up. The NAPA AutoCare 250 is next on NBC.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me something that is out.
And welcome live to Pikes Peak International Raceway in the shadow of the famous Pikes Peak. Coverage today of the NAPA AutoCare 250, the NASCAR Busch Series, here on NBC Sports. You couldn't ask for a better day for racing. Sun splashed on a Saturday afternoon, and 3 drivers at the front of this field who badly need a victory. Kenny Wallace, first pole of the year. He hasn't won in a long time. Jeff Green is the defending race champion and series champion, but he's 4th in the points. He needs to be up front today. And Tim Finoa in the 00 starts 3rd. He needs a ride. This team may go home after the race at Michigan in just a couple of weeks. Let's get a snapshot of how the battle for the Busch Series National Championship stands. This is the 21st race of the year. Kevin Harvick's margin over Greg Biffle, not quite 160 points. Jason Keller, Jeff Green's teammate, 20 points further back. Green still has a shot. Mike McLaughlin needs a lot of help if he is going to get to the championship this year. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Great to talk to you from beautiful Fountain, Colorado on Pikes Peak International Raceway. We've got a lot of storylines to talk about here today. All the drivers are happy to race at this speedway. It's an excellent facility, 1 mile, nicely banked all the way around. Let's bring in my expert commentator, analyst Dorsey Schroeder, veteran driver. Dorsey, we've talked to these guys all weekend long. This should be a fun race to watch today.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and let me tell you why. It's the racetrack itself. It's a multi-groove racetrack. They can run side by side all the way around here. But so far this week, the racetrack has given up no grip. Every race car is sliding all over the place. In happy hour, we saw 2 and 3 cars side by side. They get in the corner, whoop, off they go skating around. Now, we haven't had a big wreck yet, but I just talked a few minutes ago to Jeff Green. He told me this: he who slides best will win.
Should be quite a show once we put him under green here today. Tires will be a question mark. They're running a very hard compound Goodyear today that'll be used tomorrow in the Winston Cup round at Pocono as well. One of the stories to watch today, the ramblings of Kevin Harvick. From home in Winston-Salem, he's been to Pocono this week to practice and qualify for tomorrow's Winston Cup event. He flew in here late last night. He'll race this afternoon at Pikes Peak. After the race, he'll get back on Richard Childress's jet and fly back to Pennsylvania to race tomorrow in the Pennsylvania 500. And maybe, just maybe, if Harvick is fortunate, he'll get a day at home in Winston-Salem on Monday before heading to Indianapolis for the NASCAR Busch Series round Saturday night and the Brickyard 400 Sunday. One of the big questions for Kevin Harvick, though, how is he maintaining his mental edge? Let's find out and go downstairs to Ralph Sheheen.
Well, Rick, you're right. Kevin Harvick has been breaking the bank at most frequent flyer programs with most airlines. But, Kevin, have you been able to gain anything positive out of all this travel back and forth to the racetracks?
I think the biggest thing we're gaining is seat time and experience. We're basically getting 2 years of experience all in 1 year. So, you know, this month has been pretty hectic going back and forth from different states and so what. So, right now we're not gaining anything, but next month when we're back together, we'll gain a lot.
Normally, you at least get to practice the Busch car before you race it. This weekend, you haven't. How difficult is it going to be for you to get acclimated to this car before you can actually race towards the front?
Well, this is the car we've won 4 or 5 races with, and I'm pretty used to driving it, so they brought it here, and Ed Berrier's done a great job getting the car up qualified good and practice good, so we'll take a couple laps, and then we'll start the excitement.
The car is nicknamed Punisher. He's raced it 22 times with 4 victories. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, thanks, Ralph. Last week at St. Louis, Greg Biffle looked like he might have a car that could win the race. But on lap 139, he made contact with the lap car of Shane Hall. It cut Shane's left front tire, sent him to the pits. And when he came back out, he returned the favor to Greg, thinking the contact may have been more than incidental. Greg made a great save and went on to finish fourth. Yesterday when I got here, Greg and I had a long talk about that incident. Greg agreed he didn't need to be involved in anything like that. And I believe you guys have pretty much buried the hatchet now, Greg. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. You know, that's last week and this week. We're here at Pikes Peak and want to get a good run for the Granger Ford and hopefully capitalize a little bit today on some points. We had a good car in half the hour, so I'm pretty excited for today.
Well, Greg, good luck to you here today. He has a great race car to try to capitalize with, guys. This is the car he's already won with this month earlier at Milwaukee. Here's Rick Benjamin.
So Greg Biffle will certainly be one of the cars we'll watch today, as we will watch Kevin Harvick. We'll have to take the 2 car from up in front where it qualified to the back of the field here in the wild, wild west. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series NAPA AutoCare 250 is being brought to you by NAPA Auto Parts. NAPA, we keep America running. By Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar, eating good in the neighborhood, Applebee's. And by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drink at Busch Light. Busch, the proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series.
On behalf of over 10,000 NAPA AutoCare centers, gentlemen, start your engines.
Fans on their feet, ready to go racing here at Pikes Peak. Some of the storylines we'll watch for you today. Of course, the points battle. Kevin Harvick's lead over Greg Biffle, just 158 markers. He has to start last. Can Harvick get back to the front today? As Dorsey Schroeder told us a moment ago. Multi-group racetrack here at Pikes Peak. Cars should run 2, even 3 wide at times. We ought to see plenty of good side-by-side racing. But the drivers want to know, what about tire grip? It's a big issue. And, of course, fuel mileage, always a concern. A lot of races do turn on that as we get set to do battle here today. And one of the other questions that does come up this weekend, certainly, is the question of running at such a high altitude. Glenn Jarrett, what are the teams going to do strategy-wise to combat that issue?
Well, Rick, the altitude here is almost 6,000 feet above sea level. That creates some problems for the engine builders. A couple of things that they try to do. One, they may go down a couple of sizes on the carburetor jets because of the thin air. Also, to get more heat in the cylinders, they'll bump the timing up 2 to 3 degrees. Some of them do both. Whatever they do, it has been determined that the engines here at Pikes Peak, because of high altitude, create about 20 horsepower less than what they normally would at lower altitudes. Dorsey Schroeder, what about the drivers themselves? What kind of effect does the altitude have on them?
Well, these guys are going to have a pretty long day of it, that's for sure. This racetrack, a 1-mile racetrack, they got to do 250 laps around here, and every breath they take, their lungs don't get the same amount of oxygen. So they're down 20 horsepower, too. What it means, you get tired quicker, you struggle a little bit toward the end of the race.
As we take a look at our track facts here, Jeff Green set the race record at this event a year ago of about 118 miles an hour, and he is your outside pole sitter in the championship car. But Kenny Wallace on the pole in George Dividard's Chevrolet. Your second row here at Pikes Peak today, Tim Fedowa looking for a ride soon in that 00, and Greg Biffle in Jack Roush's Taurus. Row 3, Jay Sauter needs a win, doesn't have one in the Busch Series. That's the Kerr-Bagajanian Chevrolet, and Kevin dropped 3rd a week ago. Jeff Purvis in relief of Mike Skinner in one of Richard Childress's cars. His teammate Harvick, the car qualified 8th. He'll start from the back row here today. And the 5th row, Ashton Lewis Jr. Young gun needs a sponsor. Larry Foyt, AJ's son, in the Foyt Racing Chevrolet. 6th row, Jason Keller still in the championship hunt. Veteran Joe Ruttman out of the Truck Series today in the 1 car. And the 7th row, Jimmy Johnson, who won in Chicago alongside former champ David Green. Row 8, Jamie McMurray, a young gun, and veteran Mike McLaughlin, 5th in points. In the 9th row, Chad Little, 2nd in Busch points a couple of years ago, and Andy Santero, 1 year in '98. In the 10th row, veteran Elton Sawyer. On the comeback trail, Jeffrey Bodine. The 11th row, young Kelly Denton, and veteran former Winston West champ Mike Chase. Your 12th row here today, Randy Tolsma from the Truck Series, 2-time Busch champion Randy LaJoy. 13th row, Hank Parker Jr., won at Fontana this year, and young Bobby Hamilton Jr. The 14th row, Chad Chaffin from Nashville, and Clay Rogers in the Visine Chevrolet. 15th row, young Scott Wimmer, Rookie of the Year contender. And Bill Alsop's son, AJ, in the 72. Kerry Earnhardt, one of Dale's sons, in the 99. Michael Waltrip's machine. Brad Baker and Jason Schuler in the 17th row here today. Robbie Faggart, Mike Harmon, the veteran from Alabama. The 19th row includes Shane Hall, who was in that incident with Biffle a week ago, and Jerry Robertson. Michael Dockett from the Truck Series, New Englander Tom Carey. Last couple of rows, Scott Gaylord, veteran road racer. Joe Busch, who's a Michigan native, and Drew White out of Florida will line up shotgun on the field. So that's a look at your Castrol GTX starting lineup today. And we watch as we see the two-car of Kevin Harvick. Car qualified at 8th spot, but he will start at the back of the pack. Jason Keller, Dorsey Schroeder, he's got a need for a good run today.
One thing that's going to beat him today. That's your heart. I want you to get after him all day long. Remember what's going on here. Remember, you got to get that nose turned all day. You can beat him.
Jason Keller, Dorsey Schroeder, NBC booth.
Yeah, go ahead, Dorsey.
Yeah, Jason, that number 2 had to pull over and go toward the back. How much is that going to help you out today?
Well, if he had a slow race car, it may help me a little bit more. He's going to be tough. Just got to keep our nose clean and stay clean, and I think we'll be okay. We got a pretty fast Ford here. We just need to be smart today.
You have a good ride, man. We'll be riding with you. Good luck.
Thanks, Ben.
And, of course, a constant backdrop to NASCAR competition this year. The unfortunate passing of Dale Earnhardt back in February at Daytona. Ralph Sheheen, one of his sons, is here with us today.
Rick, Dale Earnhardt Jr. sues some very deep wounds for the entire NASCAR community with his fantastic win at Daytona in July. Michael Waltrip, his teammate at DEI, was thrilled by the opportunity that Dale Earnhardt Sr. gave him to join Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. So to repay that favor, Michael has sent his Busch car to Pikes Peak for Kerry to drive. He is Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s older brother. He will start 31st today.
And there is Kerry Earnhardt in the 99 car, Michael Waltrip's Aaron Chevrolet, a 20th at Kentucky. This will be his second start in the series. And Kerry Earnhardt, of course, the ARCA winner at Michigan a couple of weeks ago, back in June. Lights are out on the safety car, about set to get down to business here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Glad to have you along here on NBC Sports for the NAPA AutoCare 250. Challenging on the inside of Jeff Green for second spot here.
We saw this in happy hour. These two guys went side by side for about 10 laps, and I'm telling you, got loose. Today's a warm day. It should probably even be looser yet.
With about a car width maybe over Green, trailing race leader Kenny Wallace, the pole sitter. Wallace jumped out to a big lead. Let's climb on board the 60 car.
Good view looking at the back there. Listen to how easy they roll on the throttle here. These cars are very loose, and if he jumped on that throttle, we saw yesterday, get him up against the wall. We saw so many close calls.
And Vito took a look there. That's the fourth car in line. Vito's car with the white nose. Here's your leader, Kenny Wallace, from the St. Louis area in Missouri, Rusty's youngest brother.
I talked to Kenny right before the start of the race. He told me one of the things he was going to think about trying is run a higher groove, not run down on the bottom because the car was so loose yesterday.
Here comes Kevin Harvick moving by Brad Baker's machine. Harvick 34th. He started 43rd. He gained 9 spots in the first couple of laps. And here he is drawing up on Kerry Earnhardt. Harvick last week at Gateway had to do the same thing, you'll recall. He was in Loudon for the Winston Cup race on Sunday. Had to take the car to the back of the start, and he was able to win.
The big difference in last weekend was the fact that he got to do some practice time. Look right here, the lead. Biffle working the high side.
Greg Biffle trying to take that Granger Ford around Kenny Wallace to lead for the first time today as they hit the stripe on lap 5, but Wallace is able to hang with him. Biffle's working really well on the high side here.
Well, there was some speculation that everybody was going to try running up higher to try to get these cars from being so doggone loose in the middle of the corner. Unfortunately, you know, it was Kenny that told me he was going to do that, and he got passed on the top. So, there you go.
Well, Kenny Wallace will tuck in behind Biffle. Ralph Sheheen, what are they saying down in the Innovative Motorsports pit?
Well, I spoke to Kenny Wallace just before the start of this race, Rick, and he told me basically the same thing he told Dorsey. I asked him, how long is it going to be before you have to move upstairs? He said 2 laps. That's as long as it's going to take. That's going to be where the racing groove is.
Well, Wallace is staying fairly low at the moment anyway, behind leader Greg Biffle. Now, Biffle has won a race here in the NASCAR Craftsman trucks, so he certainly knows his way around this place. A little further back, Chase Sauter, Jeff Purvis battling it out for 5th. Sauter in the blue and yellow 43. And here comes Harvick outside, a 3-wide move down into turn 3, gaining another couple of spots.
You see where he is on the racetrack, too. He's not on the bottom. Right along there with Harvick. He's running kind of a middle to high groove. I think maybe he looked up ahead and saw those guys who were quick running up there, too.
Harvick's gained up to 31st, picked up 12 spots already. Glenn Jarrett, that's a strong run from the back of the car. Harvick hadn't even sat until this morning.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about, Rick. One of the things that they were really happy with yesterday was the way that Ed Berry, of course, he practiced and qualified the car, the way that he had the car set up. They were one of the few cars during happy hour yesterday afternoon that could keep the car right down on the bottom of the racetrack whenever he wanted to. But when he needed to move up, he could also do that. So they did a tremendous job in preparing this car for Harvick, knowing the task that he would have before him, starting back in the pack. Right now, that car is as if it's on a race.
High side, 3 wide down to the back straightaway for Harvick. Great move. Boy, that is aggressive.
I told you they were going to do that 3-wide business, but I tell you, he's very much at risk up there. You see the car in the middle got real squirrely when he did that move. It moved a little air off the back end, and you can get tapped in the quarter panel center out pretty easy there. But who am I to tell him? I mean, this guy's just got this thing wired.
Harvick tucking in behind Randy Tolsma, who's steering the Team Marines Chevrolet today for Team Renzi. Back out in front, look at this. Greg Biffle has opened up a substantial lead, probably 20 car lengths over Kenny Wallace. Jeff Green right there in 3rd in the yellow machine. And that 4th spot belongs to Tim Fedua in the 00. Green tucking in, riding now behind the 48 car. Both of them pushing high in the center of the corner.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Almost everybody, it looks like, that's running really fast has moved up the racetrack already. Like Kenny Wallace said, 2 laps into it, I'm going up.
2000 NASCAR Busch Series champion, filling his mirrors. Green won this race in race record time a year ago. I talked to Jeff this morning, and he told me, Dorsey, that maybe it is true that the announcement a couple of weeks ago that he'll be joining Richard Childress Racing, moving back to Winston Cup next year, maybe that has had his team take their eye off the ball just a little bit in the last few weeks. Ken's team has not performed nearly as strongly when they dominated. They had the Busch Series points championship wrapped up last year by the end of the summer, by Labor Day. This year, they're 4th, and frankly, they're not that close to the lead. Jeff said, hey, we're going to go out and try to win every race, but I know maybe my attention's been diverted a little, and maybe Harold Holly and the boys, same thing. So we need to get back on track here today. Green rolls into 2nd spot.
I think there's been a lot of people who got off their track at the beginning of the year because of Kevin Harvick. I mean, the story, who could have written a story like Kevin Harvick has had this year, for all the situations to go on, for him to get this ride, you know, and to do as good as he is on both series, it's thrown everybody off the game a little bit.
12 laps will be on the board this time by the Ford of Greg Biffle is your leader by more than 2 seconds. Kevin Harvick charging, though. He is up to 24th starting spot. We'll be back. A side-by-side battle for 7th. You're on board with Jason Keller at Pikes Peak. Outside is Kevin Grubb in the 37 car, finished 3rd a week ago at Gateway, and Joe Rudman, the great veteran, in the number 1. Oh, it's very loose. Big fly, and the 37 is way high.
Boy, he caught that. I didn't think he could catch that. No way. That was on the front bumper cam, inside the front bumper, looking right off the right. Holy cow, was that a shot or what?
So Kevin Grubb way up in the gray in the 37 car, gets it gathered up and loses 2 more spots. Not only does Keller get by, Rudman in the 1, and Jimmy Johnson, the winner in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, he sneaks by as well.
While we were at break, those cars went side by side for 2 or 3 laps, no more than a foot apart.
Take another look at what happened here. We were riding with Jason Keller, that camera on the right front corner of the 57, and watch this up in turn 1 and 2.
Right in the middle of the corners where all these cars have been getting loose. Right there, gets a little wiggle, moving up the racetrack. He's getting in the gray right there, starts stepping out. That was a really good save. It looked a lot worse from inside the car.
And from the angle we saw it originally, from the 57 car, I thought he was headed to the wall.
Yeah, watch it here now, because from this angle, I thought he was going around. It's right there in the front bumper. You're looking right over across at him. You see a tire mark right there by the left front tire. They've already made contact once, so watch it. That's the wiggle right there. You see that little bit of wiggle. That could be some of the dirty air spilling off the car.
Up in front, meantime, Greg Biffle, and his lead is being cut into by Jeff Green in the 10 car.
Well, we'll get some left rear string in at the first stop. Nobody else is as good as the 10. So just drive it. All you do is drive it the best you can. It's okay to let it go if you have to.
Biffle listening to his spotter there. They're saying the car to watch right now is Jeff Green in the 10. He's moved to second. A little further back, here's the 37 car of Grubb, the 92 of Jimmy Johnson. Mike McLaughlin in the 18. They're battling for position. And here comes Harvick on the inside of the 27 machine. Going for another spot here.
This time, he knows what the car is feeling like to him. He knows what the racetrack's going to give him. And so now he's getting a bit more aggressive. He's going to drive that thing to the front.
If he can get by Jamie McMurray here, he'll have 16th spot nailed down. We've only run 21 laps. Harvick from 43rd to 16th in 21 miles.
On board there for a minute, you saw those little wheels hanging down. Those are the roof flaps. That's the retainer.
Yeah. Here comes Biffle still on the lead, lapping by Shane Hall, but Jeff Green putting plenty of pressure on him in the 10 car.
Up on top, going around the outside. I think Biffle's got some problems. I really do. I think he's slowed up quite a bit that way.
Jeff Green, meantime, with no problems at the moment, Glenn Jarrett. That car is really, really sailing.
Oh, it is, and I talked to his crew chief, Harold Holly, just a moment ago, guys, and he told me something I haven't heard all weekend, and that is Jeff Green is reporting that the car is just a little bit tight up off the corners. All we've heard is loose, 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 and that is Greg Biffle's problem. His car has gotten just a little bit looser than he likes right now. Jeff Green looks like that tight race car is definitely the way to go.
So Green rolling into the lead on lap 23. They're at Pikes Peak. Now, Dorsey, let's talk for a moment about loose and tight and the track conditions. It's bright sunshine, pretty warm. I'd say track temperatures have to be 100 or so at this point. Yesterday's happy hour, there was some cloud cover. It was a lot cooler.
Right, so the real hot sun right now would usually make the race cars go pretty loose. Look at Harvick working through here.
Getting by Sauter. Harvick taking that car up another spot, getting by Sauter for 15th. His car obviously working very well right now.
That car never moves. I'm telling you, it is on a rail. We watched it and watched it. It just stays. Anywhere he wants to go, it goes.
Harvick gave him a turn into the middle of the racetrack, and you saw McMurray in the 27 bobbles just a little bit. He tried to go to the white line going into the turn.
Now, that driver, I can tell you, that's frustrating. You're following that 2 car, and that 2 car's right down there on the bottom, and you're just right behind it, and your car won't do that. It just slides in here, going up the hill, and, you know, you just want to be there so bad, and it's just not going to happen.
Joe Ruttman steering the 1 car this weekend. NASCAR Winston Cup Series star. Joe's driven everything on wheels, of course. Has raced in Winston Cup, raced in the Busch Series, jumping into James Finch's machine in relief of Jimmy Spencer, who's won twice with that car this year. But here's the 37. Kevin Grubb, after that bobble earlier, to the inside of Ruttman as they battle for 8th down the backstretch.
Kevin Grubb's really had a pretty good last couple of races. I was real impressed in St. Louis with him. He did a real good job running at the end there.
Right behind him is Jimmy Johnson in the 92 car. He sits in 10th. You get a look here at the front stretch at Pikes Peak, which is not straight. It's a D-shaped front stretch. It's got enough curve in it, Dorsey. It looks like it would make it pretty easy to drive the race car. You know, you come off turn 4 with a little steering in the car, and normally you'd have to straighten your hands out, go straight. Now you don't. You just leave that steering in there. It brings you right down to what would be an apex. The other thing it does is if you're in turn 4 and you get loose, it gives you a little area to catch it with. Watching the battle between Ruttman and Grubb for 8th spot. Jimmy Johnson back there in 10th. 28 laps on the board. Glad to have you along today from Pikes Peak International Raceway. I'm Rick Benjamin. Dorsey Schroeder is alongside. Glenn Jarrett and Ralph Sheheen are on pit road for us today. Riding with Greg Biffle, Jeff Green in the 10 car. That yellow machine that you see is your race leader, and you can see how Biffle pushed up the racetrack there. Plenty more to come from Pikes Peak. Been quite an early race run for Kevin Harvick in the AC Delco Chevrolet. Had to drop to the back of the pack on the start because he didn't qualify the car. By lap 5, Harvick was moving around Kerry Earnhardt for 31st spot. By lap 8, another big move coming up on Mike Chase's machine, gaining lots of ground. By lap 11, he was 23rd. This move around Scott Wimmer and Tony Raines in the 33. And then by lap 21, the 2 car inside Jamie McMurray for 16th spot. He's up to 15th position right now as we put 33 laps on the board here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Ralph Sheheen, it took a lot of work by a lot of guys on that team to make that 2 car so strong, but maybe nobody's played a bigger part in it than the guy who practiced and qualified the car.
Well, that would be Ed Berrier. We're with Todd Berrier, the crew chief for this team. And Todd, are you a little concerned about having any cars left when Kevin finally gets to the front?
Kevin's done a good job. He's got 35 laps on the track now, and he's coming right on up through there. The car's a little bit too tight for him. He's not pushing into the place for a caution here. Like a couple of adjustments will be pretty good, I think.
How about tires? Will he have enough tires left when he gets up front to actually be able to race?
Yeah, I think we put a ton of laps on these tires here this weekend, and you can't wear them out. So I hope they don't come back to bite us, but I don't think you wear them out anyway.
Remember Rick, that the 35 laps that are on the board are the only 35 laps Kevin Harvick has had in this car all weekend long.
Up front, meantime, here's Greg Biffle charging back at the leader, Jeff Green. Now, what did Biffle find, Dorsey, to be able to get up and run with Green all of a sudden?
Well, it could be nothing more than he's run more laps now on these tires. He's burned off some more fuel, and the car might be coming back to him. You know, he got rid of some fuel in the thing. It could be tightening up a little bit. And running behind, also, you're taking the air off of the nose, so it would tighten the car up. He was the one that was loose.
So your leader remains Jeff Green. Biffle, meantime, has set a record today. You know, he did lead earlier in the show, led 18 laps of this race so far, and that broke the record. Most laps led by a rookie of the NASCAR Busch Series. Kevin Harvick set it a year ago, 665 laps. Now Biffle has led 678 laps, counting today's action here at Pikes Peak. So Biffle in second spot in the 60 car. Your leader is Jeff Green in the 10, the defending race champion here. Let's take a look at some of the other competitors a little further back. Third place battle is a good one right now. Tim Fedewa in the blue and white 00 car, and Jeff Purvis in that red and white 21 car. That's one of the Richard Childress cars. He's the team machine to the 2 being driven by Harvick.
Jeff Purvis is really fast at this racetrack. In fact, has the track record here, which they didn't get even close to, maybe because of the heat this week.
Could be the heat,
or
could
the
be
tire.
the tire differentiation. You never know. This is for third spot. Now, of course, Purvis, I'm sure you know the story. He is a relief driver, too. Mike Skinner has been steering the 21 much of this season. Of course, he drives the Lowe Chevrolet in the Winston Cup Series for Richard Childress. Well, he was injured a couple of weeks ago at Daytona, and he has had to step out of both of those rides. So Jeff Purvis, who had been on the shelf, Joe Gibbs shut down one of his 2 Busch Series teams for lack of sponsorship. Purvis rideless, able to jump into a very good race car. He's running fourth, and now Fedewa has opened up a good 6 or 7 car lengths over that 21 car. Let's check in downstairs with Ralph.
Well, Rick, he just brushed the wall, did Jeff Purvis, just about a lap or so ago. But he radioed into the crew, checked the car out. The crew has looked down. Their spotters are taking a look at the car. They think everything is okay with the number 21, but he did brush the wall.
So Purvis trying to see if that car is going to perform as well, and he does look to be pushing a little bit more now.
We saw a lot of that in happy hour, particularly coming off turn 4 right here. The car all of a sudden just jumping loose at the exit and getting up close to the wall. We saw it a lot with a bunch of different cars yesterday.
Purvis ran second in one of Joe Gibbs' Pontiacs out at Fontana. His last win in the series a couple of years ago, but a very steady driver. And he came out of the dirt track late model ranks. That's a hard thing to do. It's vastly different to race on dirt. Purvis, one of the great dirt track late model races in the country. A little further back, the 37 of Grubb, the 1 of Ruttman. This is for 8th and 9.
They almost touched, too, as Grubb pulled up in front of Ruttman. And here comes Ruttman to the outside. They almost rubbed right there.
Something's changed in that number 1 car, Dorsey. When you and I were watching practice here yesterday, he was the fastest the first couple of sessions. By late in the day, he dropped down to about 12th or 14th on the speed chart.
Yeah, and I think what happened was they came with the car closer on the setup to being perfect than the other guys, because that was the quickest car on the racetrack, and everybody else dialed into it. And now it isn't the fastest car anymore.
Coming around Jerry Robertson as they battle for 8th. Robertson in the 77. He's a local racer, standout up at Colorado National Speedway in Erie. As we watch the lead battle, this 43rd lap coverage being brought to you by STP Fuel Injector Cleaner, to honor, of course, King Richard Petty at the number 13. Biffle now dropping back about 6 or 7 car lengths from Green.
I think both these guys are just riding now. They're waiting. They both know what the cars need, but they got to wait for the fuel to run out, get a fuel window, and we'll see what happens after they fix them up.
We're expecting pit stops anywhere from lap 85 to lap 100. Probably 2 stops here today, but Greg Biffle trying to solve the mystery, get a little closer to Jeff Green as we watch NASCAR Busch Series action here on NBC. We'll be back. Hey, be sure and log on to NBCSports.com. Get the latest NASCAR news and results. You can email Benny Parsons your questions. Check out what's in his mailbag every day, which includes a close-up look at Jeff Gordon, plus analysis of the 3 drivers who have the best shot at this year's Winston Cup Championship. It's all yours at NBCSports.com. Watching the battle for the lead here at Pikes Peak. Meantime, a great battle for 3rd. Tim Fedewa in the 00, challenging the 21 of Jeff Purvis. Now, Purvis got by a few moments ago. Fedewa comes right back at him as they lap by Larry Foyt.
Yeah, these guys are not giving up. They're really running pretty hard, and we've seen them side by side. They're using lap traffic right now to kind of mess each other up.
Up in front, Biffle trying to reel in Jeff Green. Now, Biffle has led 18 laps today. Green got around him and took off. Biffle has found something. The 60 car starting to come in a little bit now as we're close to 50 miles on the board here today.
I think it's probably more of burning fuel than it is tire. These tires are very, very hard and a very stiff sidewall. We heard the crew chief say before that you couldn't wear them out if you wanted to.
And that's normally considered a good thing in motorsports, but it's been hard for these drivers to figure out what the cars have needed this weekend to take advantage of the tires.
Well, the cars are handling okay, but they don't have any grip, so they're just sliding from the bottom to the top and so forth. One thing we've been seeing is the lead cars right there are running in the middle to a high groove all the way around. But Kevin Harvick back in the back there, he's got that number 2 right on the bottom like we usually see.
Harvick making good progress through the field as we watch the leaders down the front straightaway, or the front curved straightaway, you might say. It's kind of a D-shaped front stretch here at Pikes Peak. Here's Kevin Harvick in the 2 car. He's gotten that machine up to 11th spot right now from 43rd with 50 miles on the board. Now his progress very rapid here in the first couple of dozen laps. Now he's up with a faster car, so it's going to take him a little while longer, but as good as that Richard Childress team is, as sharp as Harvick is, Dorsey, you've got to expect they'll be in contention here before the day's done.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not taking any risk. He's running right along there. You see right in front of him is Joe Ruttman, and those guys are in this whole group right there that you're looking out the car at is in a big battle and has been for the whole race.
On board the 2 car, going up behind Joe Ruttman's machine. Next in line will be Mike McLaughlin. Here's that battle for 3rd. Jeff Purvis in relief the injured Mike Skinner. Vidua and Buckshot's 0-0 right behind. Skinner resting home after his injury suffered at Chicagoland a couple of weeks ago. And Vidua really just hoping to get some folks to notice him so that he'll have a ride in a few weeks.
Those 2 cars are really evenly matched. You see they gain and they lose right a little bit to each other, more relative to traffic around them than anything else.
Good battle down the backstretch. Vidua just tucking right in. He's been very good here. He's going to try the high side. Lap car Randy Tolsma in the way. Glenn Jarrett, they've got to be pretty happy with the run Vidua has given the 0-0 so far.
You're right, Rick. They've been happy all weekend long with the way the car's performed, particularly with the job that Tim is doing. I talked with Tim this morning, and he said that Billy Jones, who's Buckshot's father, that co-owned this car, had really committed to Tim to go in and run this car as long as they could without sponsorship to help Tim show people that he could still get the job done. Tim Vidua has 4 career wins in the NASCAR Busch Series. He's doing a great job here today, and I'm telling you what, if you're auditioning for a job, this is the way to do it.
Absolutely. Vidua very strong, likes the intermediate racetracks, and he's quite a chef. You know, he cooked us a meal late last year, and has a lot of talents off the racetrack. He's got for the lead. Greg Biffle down into turn 3, challenging Jeff Green here. 56 laps on the board.
We'll see now that Biffle's car is not behind the 10 if it gets loose again.
On board Biffle. Green running the high line. I wonder if Jeff Green will just let it go here since we're still pretty early in the race.
Well, you wouldn't want to be on top of a guy who's loose. That's the wrong way to be, because you know where he's going if he doesn't touch it.
Down into the 3rd turn here at Pikes Peak.
Nice, clear.
Remember, Biffle has a win here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and Green won this race a year ago.
You watch these 2 guys going down the straightaway side by side like that, and they're giving each other just enough room. Spotted column still outside, don't go up. And you need to know that because you can't see the other car. But watch, the yellow car, the 10, Green will get a better run off the straightaway. He's going to come right along the outside. See there?
You get a little more momentum on the outside.
Yeah, you're a little freer on the car, and he gets a better run off the corner. And we saw these guys in happy hour do this for at least, I'm not kidding, must have been 9-10 laps that they ran just like that.
Peter Greg Biffle spotter telling him that Green is still there. And now Biffle able to make the move coming out of the corner to reestablish the lead.
Work the top. Just get food there, buddy.
You hear right there, he's talking about...
right there, that's good. The 21's been working that. The 21 and the 0-0 been going up higher and higher, but you got to be careful. They almost wrecked up there once.
The riders talking to the leaders.
Yeah, and you heard Biffle say, I can't keep it down low. I can't go down there. And the spotter's telling him, and the crew chief's telling him, get back up high.
Clear, buddy.
Run a little higher line.
So Biffle able to run high and get back out in front. Second time this day that Biffle has been in front in that Jack Roush Ford, the 60 car. And Green really fading back. I'm surprised. About 10 car lengths the gap between the 60 and the 10.
You know, you hear that spotter out there. He's still up there. He's still up there. Here he comes. He's still up there. You finally just want to say, hey, well, tell him to go away. Leave me alone.
And you can see how high that groove is becoming. They're almost in the gray up there coming out of the 4th turn.
Yeah, not very many cars left on the bottom. Everybody's moving up top now. And I really think Jeff Green is just letting that lead go away a little bit so he can have some clean air.
Of course, both of those teams among the very best in the NASCAR Busch Series. The battle for third continues to rage. Purvis in the 21, Vito in the 00 car. Jason Keller has quietly snuck into fifth. They lap by Kerry Earnhardt.
That's a fun little battle because they're using the traffic to help each other. Jeff Purvis right there saw Kerry Earnhardt coming up, and he moved himself in a position to go around him, and of course it blocked Vito from being able to go anywhere.
Purvis holds on to third spot ahead of Buckshot on the 00. Nearly a full second now. The lead for Greg Biffle in the 60 over Jeff Green in the 10, and we're hearing that they're a lot quicker lap time-wise, Glenn Jarrett, than the rest of the field right now.
Well, they are. The 0021 car have been coming, and Randy Goss has been talking to Greg. In fact, he's talking to him right now. He's the crew chief. Been telling him to try some different lines. He's been watching the other cars. Greg's car is still a little loose. Randy, we've been hearing you talk about the car being a little loose, but seems to have gotten a little better. You got back by Jeff Green.
Well, I can't hear you too good, Glenn, but of course we were concerned about not having much experience here, being way too loose, but we went with our gut instinct, and it's borderline too loose now. Anybody but Biffle driving the thing probably wouldn't be able to get the job done, but he's doing a good job for us. If we do all the right stuff, we'll be all right.
Randy, how far can you go under green flag conditions before you have to pit?
Well, we're going to need tires before we need fuel. I think my calculations say we can go 100, but I'm not that good at math.
Well, he's pretty good at some things, that's obvious. Greg Biffle, even though it's loose, running away from the field.
Good at saddling up a fine race car for Biffle to drive. Just lapping by Elton Sawyer in the 98 car. Sawyer now 25th on the board, and he was, until a moment ago, the last car on the lead lap. Greg Biffle is your leader ahead of Green, Purvis, Vito, and Jason Keller. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Welcome back to Pikes Peak International Raceway on NBC Sports. First caution of the day while we were away. Joe Busch out of Michigan in the 94. Backed that machine into the wall at the top of turn 2. That's what happens when you have a loose race car. He is driving the car away, and obviously he's fine. The car severely damaged. Let's show you just what happened here.
Boy, he got loose really early. He got loose going into 1. Never even got to turn 2. Rides the wall all the way around here, and then luckily stops it on top. But it did bring out the full course.
Worst feeling in the world when the back end of that thing gets away from you, and there's nothing you can do except ride it out. So Busch will bring that Chevrolet onto pit road, his third career Busch start. And it ends perhaps just a little early. Maybe they'll be able to make some repairs, get the 94 car back out on the racetrack. First yellow of the day, 68 laps complete. Maybe not soon enough for a pit stop, but it looks like a lot of leaders are going to come to pit road. Here comes Biffle, followed by Green and Fedor. Jason Keller next in line. Keller may be the fastest car on the racetrack right now. Jimmy Johnson, Kenny Wallace. Kevin Grubb is there. Mike McLaughlin. So the leaders will take their opportunity, take this first caution to get to pit road. Let's cover the action down there. Ralph Sheheen.
Well, this is an important stop for Kevin Harvick. This is the first opportunity he's had to actually make any personal changes to the car. Right now, they're putting on right side tires. One tire starts to get away, but it looks like everything's going to be okay. If it's going to be any change, it's going to be a slight air pressure adjustment. Everything seems to be okay with this car. The pit stop is done. Glenn Jarrett.
Biffle is down in a way with the 4-tire change. They did make some air pressure adjustments and put a spring rubber in the car to try to tighten the car up. Remember, Randy Goss told us just a little too loose. We'll get a report on what Jeff Green did here in just a moment and get back to you guys.
All right, so Greg Biffle off of pit road, but problems for the 00 team and Tim Fedor having trouble evidently getting the left side tires put on the 00. Now they're down and away. They will give up a lot of track position with a relatively slow pit stop. Back with Kelly Denton in the 54 and some of the other back markers, Fedor gets it up to speed. Now the car's not on the lead lap, able to come down pit road. We'll grab the opportunity to take a quick timeout. We're at Pikes Peak International Raceway on NBC. Out at Pikes Peak beginning lap 73 today here on NBC. I'm Rick Benjamin with Dorsey Schroeder. The NASCAR Busch Series for you this afternoon. Your leader is Greg Biffle on the high side of the racetrack there. Jeff Green in the 10 car right behind him. A couple of drivers made big moves off that pit stop cycle. How about Mike McLaughlin? He was 8th when the cars came onto pit road. He's 3rd in the 18 machine right there behind Green. And maybe the fastest car on the racetrack before that round of pit stops. Jason Keller in the 57. Keller likes mile racetracks, and this, of course, one of the finest miles in the country. He's run 4th at NASCAR, 13th at Dover, 5th at Milwaukee this year. He's got 6 top 5s in his last 9 starts. McLaughlin trying to put some heat on Jeff Green for 2nd spot. Excellent stop for the Joe Gibbs Racing team. That gained McLaughlin those 5 spots. We'll see if the car is up to the task now. Here comes Keller. We take a ride with Jason Keller.
This will give you a pretty good indication what it's like to be out there, folks. Right now, you got 3 cars. Which lane you going to go into? It looks like he's going down. Go underneath Biffle.
Biffle has fallen back in the 60 car. He gave up 1st and then 2nd spot.
Look at him down, working the bottom side of the racetrack right now. He's got fresh tires, so he won't jump sideways. Now he thinks Biffle's going to go better, so he moves up the racetrack. Going to go on the outside of McLaughlin here on the entry of the corner. Look at the car move around. Look at Biffle's car up in front. Back of the car dancing around a little bit on the middle of the corner there. That's what these guys have been talking about getting into the center part of the corner and the car moving.
McLaughlin on 4 brand new tires, but a quick pit stop no less. Taking a look out the back end of the Granger Ford. Biffle back in 2nd spot now. He did not get a good run out of the corner there a lap ago. He had fallen back almost to 4th. But now he is back on the beam and up to 2nd spot behind Green in the 10 car. Keller now is 3rd, and here's McLaughlin. He's got his hands full with the pole sitter today. Kenny Wallace on the inside, going for 4th spot.
Haven't heard much from Kenny Wallace today since the start. He's now on the bottom of the racetrack, and that car looks like it's pretty quick right now.
And Purvis in relief of Mike Skinner in the 21 car. That's a quick race car as well. Battling for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Wallace and ahead of Purvis. The fans, of course, on their feet. Full house just about here today at Pikes Peak. They're expecting the biggest crowd in track history. This place opened in 1998. It's one of the most beautiful facilities you could come to.
I think they got the biggest crowd they ever did. I tell you what, there's hardly any place you can sit out there. There are people everywhere.
The traffic was backed up out on I-25 past the start of the race today. Folks trying to get in here and get a glimpse of big league NASCAR stock car racing. Here's Jay Sauter in the 43, Jamie McMurray in the 27, Elton Sawyer in the 98. They're battling for position back in the field.
And right there, Kevin Harvick right in the middle of a big battle. Wow. There's nothing right underneath him. I don't know if he knew he was there. That's Andy Santerre working the bottom of Kevin Harvick.
Santerre in the Highline Performance Group 11 car this weekend. Although that's one of Andy Santerre race machines repainted. Here he goes under Harvick.
That's what I'm talking about. He is right down on the white line. I don't even know that Harvick knew he was there the first time. I'm sure he does now.
Watching Chad Little in the 74. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 26 car. Made time for 2nd spot. Here comes Jason Keller challenging the 60 car of Biffle.
There's our bumper cam shot. I mean, that thing is awesome. And watch right now. The 60 moves up the hill. It's tight. It was loose before. I think they got it too tight. Now they're side by side off the corner.
Outside.
Keller saving ground on the bottom of the racetrack at the 57.
To the inside.
Lap car Clay Rogers in the way there, so the leaders move up the track.
I think they got the 60 a little bit too tight right now, and he's riding up on the high side. In the meantime, the 57 looking really good, giving us that great shot off the bumper.
Into 3. There's Biffle up in the gray again, way high.
He got loose that time. You see the front wheel move?
Oh, yeah. Come on with it, clear all around.
I think he's working hard to keep it out of the wall right now.
He did right there. That car moved up the racetrack. You saw the right front tire turn out, which means he was steering into a slide right there. Real loose.
So Jason Keller continues his charge to the front of the 57. He is now 2nd. Joe Busch back on the racetrack in the 94 after hitting the wall, bringing out our first caution a few minutes ago. Here's Harvick. Andy Santerre gives him a little nudge going down into the corner.
Hey, gave him a little shot there, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. This is for 9th and 10th. Harvick in the 2 car is 9th. Santerre in the 11 is 10th. And Harvick, quick progress up to the top 15, but now it's gotten a lot harder, and there you see he was 9th back on lap 64, 9th still as we put 82 miles on the scoreboard.
Look at Andy Santerre trying to work that bottom. Now, sooner or later, that's going to really make those tires go off quicker. He's running a real tight line to get underneath the 2. But I tell you what, right now, the 11 car is real good on the bottom.
Remember that Santerre won the first Busch Series race here run in 1998.
Now he's moving up the racetrack on the outside. That car right now is a real fast car.
So Harvick loses a position back to 10th. But it's still early. We're not quite to halfway.
Watch this view. This is a great view right here. You can see what the race cars are doing. See the wiggle right there? Santerre gets loose right in the middle of that corner. See the back step out. He caught that real well. You listen to the engine as well and see what's going on with the car.
So Harvick trying to get up there and run with Santerre. Meantime, Kenny Wallace in the white 48. Wants fifth away from Mike McLaughlin in the black and gray machine. And here's Jason Keller rolling inside his teammate Jeff Green. So Keller grabs the point for the first time today in the 57, and that slides Green back to second spot. Our fourth leader of the day is Jason Keller.
What a difference a pit stop will make.
Really? Glenn Jarrett, you were telling us during the break that Keller was on the move. He certainly is quick right now.
Yeah, guys, Jason told me this morning, in fact, right before he got in the race car, that he felt like he had a car that could win the race. They made some drastic changes to the car yesterday during happy hour, and they found something that they really, really like. Oddly enough, those two cars are teammates, Jeff Green and Jason Keller. They have never finished 1 and 2 on the racetrack since they were teammates starting in 1999.
That's amazing as strong as both those teams have always been. I talked to Jason yesterday morning. He told me they were totally lost. They were searching for anything that would make the 57 car perform well. Obviously, at happy hour, they found the right combination.
Well, they found it all right. I was watching his hands on the steering wheel, and you could see how he'd feed the wheel real gently into the corner. The car would take a bite, get down in there, and as he came off the corner, there was none of the opposite lock. The car really taking power well coming off the corner. That car is perfectly neutral as you could get one right now.
Interesting to point out, in the 3 previous NASCAR Busch Series rounds here at Pikes Peak, a Ford has never been to victory lane. Right now, Ford occupies the top 3 spots on lap 88.
Now, see, they said that last week in St. Louis, and what won the Chevy? See, you just jinxed it.
Longtime Ford stalwart Dorsey Schroeder is alongside here today. On board with Jason Keller, looking back at his teammate Jeff Green, who rides in second spot. Jimmy Johnson in the 92 car starting to get going now. He's up to 6th. He wants 5th away from McLaughlin. Now Wallace couldn't get it done. There you see Kenny Wallace back in 7th. Jimmy Johnson, the winner at Chicagoland a couple of weeks ago. Door to door with magic shoes for the position. McLaughlin using the high line to great effectiveness right now. Jimmy Johnson still working hard.
Well, he's driving low line so he can get in the corner a bit better, but the 18 on top, McLaughlin gets the better run off. It's a freer car, and he gets down straightaway faster.
Battling for 5th. Jimmy Johnson, his ticket is punched. I'm sure you know he's headed to Winston Cup with Hendrick Motorsports next year. He'll run 7 races as a teammate to Jeff Gordon later this season in the Winston Cup Tour.
Kevin Grubb liked the way that looked so much, he decided he wanted a piece of it too. So he stuck that car right at the tail end of this. You'll see it right here.
Grubb is in 8th spot in the green and blue 37th car. And there's Andy Santerre back there at 9th in the all-blue machine. And McLaughlin able to hold Jimmy Johnson off.
Yeah, but it's slowing those guys up, and I think these guys from behind now are getting a run at them. We're seeing more and more cars form at the back of the line here.
Still side by side for position. Johnson down low. McLaughlin just more effective up high. Now Wallace says, hey, I'll go down low and help you, Jimmy.
Yeah, those cars from behind will dictate now what will happen to the guys up front. They've proven that they can't pass each other. They've been side by side for 4 laps. The guys from behind will play key now into who's going to do what. Oh, look at there.
And a little further back, the battle for 9th. Andy Santerre, 9th in the 11th car. 8th belongs to Kevin Grubb. And Ralph Sheheen, I understand Andy Santerre has picked up some significant new backing this weekend. Is that right?
Well, Rick, as regular followers of the NASCAR series, you're common to seeing big-time Fortune 500 style sponsors involved in NASCAR's Winston Cup and Busch Series. Well, let me introduce you to 2 of the newest sponsors in NASCAR's Busch Series, helping out their favorite driver, Andy Santerre. They heard he needed some money, so Catherine Newcomb and her younger brother Samuel, ages 5 and 4, sent in their piggy banks to Andy and some notes saying, Andy, we would like to do anything we can to help you. Now, Catherine, how much money do you think you sent Andy here today?
Maybe 10 equal.
$10. Well, that'll go quite far. And Samuel, why is Andy Santerre your favorite driver? because he sent his piggy bank to him. That's why. These two youngsters are originally from Maine. Of course, that is the home state of Andy Santerre. And they heard about Andy needing some sponsorship help. So, like good kids, they sent their piggy bank to help out their favorite driver. And I got to tell you, Rick, it's the first time I've ever had to wake somebody up to do an interview with him. Old Samuel was crashed out on the media room floor.
I can understand. It is a hot, sunny summer afternoon here at Pikes Peak. Out in front, meantime, the 57 of Jason Keller has driven away from his teammate by nearly 2 seconds. Jason with a smooth hand on the wheel here at Pikes Peak. The race for the NASCAR Championship continues on NBC and TNT. Let's check out our upcoming NASCAR schedule. The Wendy's race menu tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time from Pocono. The Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys on TNT. And then an encore presentation of the same event Monday at midnight Eastern and Pacific Time on TNT. An encore presentation of the Pennsylvania 500. Hope you can join Alan Bestrick, Benny Parsons, and the whole gang for coverage from Pocono tomorrow. Here at Pikes Peak, Jason Keller is just wiring the field at the moment in the 57 car. He is very strong. He's 2 1/4 seconds ahead of his teammate Jason Keller. A little further back, though, great battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. You've got Kevin Harvick in the 2 car, Kevin Grubb at the 37. Mike McLaughlin in the 18 is 7th right now, but I think he's going to lose a couple of spots here very shortly.
Well, I tell you, the 2 car saw that battle side by side and capitalized on that, jumped right in.
You've got to like the patience, I think, that Kevin Harvick has shown, Dorsey. He made great strides through the field as a first 25 laps or so. Got up into the top 10 pretty early. Stopped at about 9th spot. But now he's becoming a lot more patient, working his way up from 9th. He's gotten the car up to 8th, going for 7th here if he can get up around Kevin Grubb.
The guy has got the demeanor. He's the Iceman. He's cold as can be. Saw it last week at St. Louis. I mean, he does not get flustered.
Plenty of time. We're a long way from halfway still. 103 miles on the board next time by out of 250 here today.
Look at Kevin Grubb right there come off that corner, got loose off the corner, and the 2 car, of course, is just stuck like we always see, and it doesn't move around. But 37 wagging the tail there, got loose at the exit.
Harvick able to drive his car, a little bit lower than Grubb. Come out of turn 4.
That's been the characteristic of almost all the cars. Oh,
Hank Barker Jr. bringing the GNC machine down on pit road. They'll go right side tires and fuel. And they'll swing around and put a couple of new Goodyears on the left-hand side of that C.C. Weller Chevrolet. Hank won at Fontana earlier this year. Ran a fuel mileage gambit that paid off for his first career NASCAR Busch Series win. Right before that, stopped the 36 car.
Clear all the way out.
Stuck back in 24th spot, 1 lap down. Hopefully a little tire pressure adjustment or something might allow Hank to move up through the pack today and get a good finish here at Pikes Peak. Harvick talking to his spotters. And on board with Kevin Harvick as we ride behind the 37 machine.
Oh,
Grubb really loose.
That's loose.
Well, we're talking about a loose race car like we've been seeing with Kevin Grubb's machine. What are we talking about exactly, Dorsey?
Well, what happens to the race car is a loose condition is when you get the car headed down into the corner. Now you're driving down toward the bottom, and all of a sudden the back end loses grip. It starts to slide. The taillight's faster than the headlights and heads for the wall. Good correction right there, saves the car. But that's a loose car. Anytime the back end's faster than the front.
And that is the condition Kevin Grubb is facing here right now. Harvick has gotten by him, and Chad Little's starting to rumble a little bit in the 74 car, Bill Baumgartner's machine.
Yeah, well, Chad saw how loose Kevin was. I'm sure he saw that slide. He moves to the underneath side of the 37, and we'll start giving him a fit. Now, if you're Kevin Grubb, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, the car's loose as can be. You're holding on. You're under a lot of pressure right now. All these guys are beating up on you.
Hoping for a caution, no doubt. On board Harvick, taking a look out under the back bumper of his machine. Here's how Harvick made the move to the inside, getting by the 37 car. Just nice and smooth.
Yeah, Kevin already slipped, though. He already had a slip on the entry to that corner, got loose, and opened up the bottom. Kevin took that away from him. And, of course, the 74 saw that, too. Chad Little drove right in there.
On board with Harvick. He's moved up to 7th, Ralph. They're starting to make some noise again.
That they are, Rick. And here's one of the things that has been an advantage for Kevin Harvick with all of these travels. He's done over 13,000 miles here in the last 4 weeks in the air. But the good thing for him is he's been going right from the race car to the airplane to another race car. Now, that might not sound like a great thing, but what it's done is it's allowed him to keep his head clear of nothing but thinking about the race car and the task at hand. He's not had to deal with excessive interviews with the media or tons of autograph sessions. He's been able to do nothing but focus on the car, and is paying off, as you can see from his performance here today.
Harvick up in the middle of the racetrack as we check your Castrol Syntec running order. Top of the screen there. Show you where your favorite driver is situated right now. Closing in on halfway, it's Jason Keller by 2.3 seconds over Jeff Green. The 21 car of Jeff Purvis is now third, ahead of Greg Biffle, who's almost 7 seconds behind. Nothing but clear blue skies in front of Jason Keller at Pikes Peak. Need other drivers to move it on over today here at Pikes Peak. Jason Keller, as he battles for point supremacy, has come from 11th on the grid to lead. Jeff Green has lost a spot so far. Greg Biffle back to 4th after leading previously. Kevin Harvick, of course, the car started in 8th spot when they rolled off the line, but he had to come from 43rd at the drop of the green because of the driver change. And Harvick right now up in 7th position in the 2 car. On board with Jason Keller. Clean racetrack in front of him. 8 laps short of halfway. And he has just turned in a marvelous drive so far today. And Glenn Jarrett, that's got to be good news for the whole PPC Racing team.
Absolutely, Rick. You know, we talked to Jason back at the top of the show, and he hadn't really said much on the radio since then. The car is so good. His crew chief, Steve Addington, has been calling times out to him, just now doing that. And Steve, we talked about how good the car is, how much he struggled. What did you do to this car to make it so good?
All we did was mess with a little bit of air pressure. We were good in that long run, just qualifying. You know, I talked to you this weekend, and we've been fighting this car all weekend, but it was good in happy hour. And, man, it feels pretty good right now.
Well, you know, guys, he finished second last week at St. Louis. Right now today, he doesn't want to leave any doubt about who's got the best race car. He is driving away.
He is pulling away, but, you know, there's another car right behind him that's also making great progress. Running in 2nd spot now as we watch Kevin Harvick. He's up in 7th spot and riding comfortably. Jeff Purvis has taken the 21 car to 2nd. He's gaining a little bit of ground on Purvis. We'll get to him in a moment. Let's check in downstairs though with Ralph Sheheen.
Rick, you might remember we talked to Todd Barrier, the crew chief for Kevin Harvick, just before that first round of pit stops. He said the car was a little bit tight. They did pull the spring rubber out of the left rear of that car on that first pit stop. Now this is half the spring rubber. They get wedged up inside the springs, and that can help them adjust the handling of the car, whether the car's too tight or too loose. They took the full spring rubber out of the left rear. Now, unfortunately, the car's a little bit too loose for Kevin. That's why he's not making quite as quick progression in the front as he had in the early stages of the race.
Part of the chess game that these crew chiefs and drivers go through to try to get a more raceable combination of faster race car under their drivers. And Dorsey, talking about a tight race car, the opposite of loose. Explain that to us.
Well, tight is when the front end of the race car doesn't respond properly. You see this car going down into the preferred line on the bottom. Now the front end's going to lose traction and push or go understeer up the racetrack. You got the wheel turn, but the car is not turning. That is what we call tight.
And as we said at the top of the broadcast, many drivers in the field had told us all weekend long they just couldn't find the right combination. They were loose in, they were tight off, having trouble in the middle of the corner, trying different lines, different air pressure combinations to try to make these cars quicker in the corners and thus faster down the straightaways.
Well, riding with Kevin Harvick through that last turn 3-4 complex, his car took 2 distinctive moves in the middle of the corner. Watch here, see if it does it again. Not so bad up here in 1 and 2, but in 3 and 4, he got down the middle of the corner, and right in the center of the corner, the car gave up on him, and it got sideways. You see him in there. Watch see if that does it again. Now he's working low because he's got a car in front of him.
Out in front, meantime, there is Jason Keller. And Jeff Purvis in the 21 car, the red and white Rockwell automation machine from the Richard Children's shop. Purvis has cut into the lead of Keller. He may have the quickest car right now at this stage of the race. 1 1/4 seconds the gap between Keller and Purvis. Now, if Purvis is able to get there, that's when we'll find out what Keller's got in the 57 car.
Well, in the meantime, though, we talked about him making an impression. He's making a good impression right now. He is gaining at about 2 to 3/10 a lap. So it won't take him many laps, and he'll be right up on the bumper. Like you say, then passing's a whole different situation.
Catching the garbage truck if you're the dog is one thing. Then what do you do with it once you get it? That is the question, but here's the gap closing. Purvis really making some ground up on Keller. This time down into 3. He's entering the corner a lot quicker.
He's got a lot better car through the center of the corner. You saw right there, Purvis' car really made up huge ground on the entry of that corner through the middle of the corner. I suspect he'll do it right here, too.
It'll be halfway next time by for these NASCAR Busch Series competitors today. Jason Keller in the 57 car. 4th leader today. He's led 40 laps so far. But Jeff Purvis wants some time out front. Now, Purvis has run 5th here twice in the 3 previous races at Pikes Peak, and he's the track qualifying record holder, as Dorsey mentioned earlier. He ran a lap of 135.6 miles an hour here a year ago and take the pole.
To the outside, to the outside.
On board, down into turn 1. Jason Keller with Jeff Purvis right on his back bumper. We, though, are going to take a quick timeout at halfway at Pikes Peak. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
NBC Tuesday is
big day here tomorrow on NBC at 4 o'clock Eastern. Exciting WNBA action. 2 Western Conference powers battling toward the playoffs. Jennifer Gillum and the Phoenix Mercury on All-Star Yolanda Griffith and the Monarchs. Good battle, good face-off there. The Mercury versus the Monarchs. Tomorrow at 4 Eastern only here on NBC. Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway, the NASCAR Busch Series.
Opening my successful digital art studio.
Purvis in the 21 car. He is very quick. We mentioned right before the break, we thought that machine might be the fastest car on the racetrack. We'll show you in just a second here how he got the lead a few moments ago, right as we were in commercial. Purvis taking the 21 to the point. 5th time he's had a chance to lead a NASCAR Busch Series event this year. Dorsey.
Yeah, he did a good job. These guys have been playing with the lap traffic situation all along. And the 21's a freer car right now, no question about that. Jeff Purvis' car is working on the top or bottom. And in the, unfortunate for the other car of Keller, it's not that way. His car's gone off on the handling. Not as good on a long run.
So Purvis with about a half-second lead now, coming up on Jeffrey Bodine in the 66 car. Last car on the lead lap is Bodine right now. He sits 21st, and he will be no opposition at all from Purvis. It looks like Bodine will quickly go a lap down. Glenn Jarrett, the 21 crew, certainly found something on that last pit stop, didn't they?
Well, they did, Rick, and I'm going to have to offer my apologies to him because when I was in Jason Keller's pit, I made the statement that he was driving away, and about 10 or 12 laps later, Purvis ran him down and blew him away and went on by him. But Purvis has been very quiet all day. I asked the crew chief, Gil Martin, what they did to the car on the first pit stop. He said nothing. They made no changes. But if we look back and remember, the 21 car and the 00 car were closing in on the 2 leaders at that time, Jeff Green and Greg Biffle, before that caution came out. So Jeff Purvis has had a very fast car, particularly on long green flag runs. And so that's the reason that they're so good right now. Here's Ralph.
Well, Larry Foyt has pulled his Harris machine back behind the wall. Larry, what seems to be the problem?
I think we broke a valve spring, so there wasn't any sense in running around out there like that. We come in and change it, maybe see if we can go out and learn something.
Valve covers are off. They're working on the number 14, and hopefully the son of the legendary A.J. Foyt will get back in this one.
Larry Foyt in his rookie year in the NASCAR Busch Series. He's had some good runs this year. Strong season a year ago in the American Speed Association, another stock car circuit that races primarily in the Midwest. Here's your leader, Jeff Purvis. Gil Martin, the crew chief for that team, veteran NASCAR crew chief. And as we mentioned, Purvis with a couple of 5th place finishes here at Pikes Peak in previous seasons. So he certainly knows his way around here.
And that car, without question, does get better on long runs, like Glenn Jarrett said. That car comes forward toward the middle.
And what about some of the other cars we talked about at the top of the broadcast? Well, Greg Biffle had been strong. He's led a bunch of laps here today. Biffle sitting back and forth, about 6.5 seconds back now. And Dorsey, we've got a unique look at the right rear corner of the Granger 4.
Well, you see right here, that's the spring area where they put the rubbers. You can put them right in there. And we talk about that. This particular car also has a sway bar. You see this mechanism right here working up and down. It's a rear anti-roll bar, and that takes the sway out of the back of the car. You can use that to tune the rear suspension because the rear suspension, those sway bars are a different size machine. It's a very, very small, skinny bar right there, so they've got a very small bar on it.
And that piece of chain you see there is kind of a retainer on the rear end so that when they jack the car up, the rear axle will stay where it's supposed to be, kind of a locator piece there. And you see, of course, the shock absorber as well doing its work on the right rear corner of the car. Let's take a look. Let's swing over to the other side. This is the left side of the car.
You come across, this is the rear end right here. When they change the rear gear, that's it. These are the oil lines for it right here. You're looking across up and here's the drive shaft area. That goes up that way. Of course, the rear wheels over on that corner over there. But that's it's an interesting view back there. This is the brake rotor right here in this area. You can barely see it. They're not braking that hard on this racetrack, so you really don't see it glowing all that much.
And this is a very smooth racetrack compared to a lot of tracks that we will see. Not a lot of suspension travel here. Speaking of traveling, how about Jimmy Johnson in the 92, the Chicagoland winner? He's right up on the back bumper of Biffle now. They'll battle here for 4th spot. Biffle hangs the position, hangs on to 4th, but Johnson right with him wants to take 4th away. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Jimmy Johnson and his crew chief, Tony Liberati, told me this morning they found something on the car that they really liked late in the happy hour yesterday. Gave the car a lot of side bite. They're another car that has been slowly but methodically making their way through the field. Biffle, in the meantime, after all the changes they made on that last pit stop, the car has gotten even more loose. So they're going to have to try to find something else to do to the car. Biffle still very, very loose. Ralph?
Well, Glenn, apparently winning a Busch Grand National race for the first time doesn't pay as much money as we would all like to think it does. Jimmy Johnson, who won his first race just recently, has a $100 sport watch. Well, he broke the strap on his $100 watch, but instead of getting a new one, the first-time Busch winner just used a zip tie.
That is a low-budget operation.
Take a look at Greg Biffle. You talk about a horrible race car and how hard he's holding on. He's using the racetrack all the way from the bottom to the top just by himself, just to stay off the wall. Look at the race car headed up the hill right there. He can't do anything about it. Look, almost into the wall right there.
And that's as good a piece of driving as you'll see to keep that car from hitting the wall.
You hate it being Greg Biffle right now. Your life is miserable because your race car is trying to wreck you. It's just trying to get to the fence. And this guy down the 92, why doesn't he understand that? Why doesn't he give me a break, you know? Instead of Jimmy Johnson wants to come by Greg. Greg says, man, I'm hanging on for all I got. And the race car's all over the racetrack. I'm telling you, he's doing a great job just staying out of the fence.
Jimmy Johnson able to run down on the white line on the bottom side of the speedway coming out of turn 4.
And Greg dare not go down there. He dare not go to the bottom of that racetrack because he's been out if he did.
The only way he can do it is to keep the car up high and not turn the wheel back.
Right, he's trying not to turn that car as little as possible. The problem is you run out of racetrack on the top. We saw him almost hit the wall before. But he cannot turn down. If he turns down off that banking, that'll be the last time.
So Biffle gives up 4th spot to Jimmy Johnson. The 92 car easily inside Biffle's machine. And Biffle, I'm sure, hoping for a caution to bring that car on the pit road. Try some different adjustments, maybe air pressure, maybe a little spring rubber, something like that, to try to make the car behave a little better.
Well, you wouldn't want to be Randy Goss right now as crew chief, because look how low, oh man, big slide through the center of the corner. He's screaming on the radio. I guarantee you, he is screaming, man, you got to do something about this. You're trying to kill me.
About a quarter of a straightaway
back. As we watch Johnson and Biffle, here's your leader, Jeff Purvis in the 21, about to lap Jay Sauter in the 43. Sauter 19th, so right now there are only 19 cars remaining on the lead lap, and that may change momentarily because Purvis in the 21, he is just wiring everybody at the moment. He's got a 3-second lead over Jason Keller as he hits the backstretch.
Well, that car has really come into its own from the middle part of a fuel stint on to the end of a fuel stint. It is the strongest car, no question about it.
You're watching the NAPA AutoCare 250 here on NBC Sports from Pikes Peak International Raceway. Fountain, Colorado is where we're located on a beautiful summer Saturday afternoon. I'm Rick Benjamin. Dorsey Schroeder is alongside. Glenn Jarrett and Ralph Sheheen are on pit road. We hope you're enjoying our coverage today. 5 leaders so far. Purvis in the 21 is out front now. Kenny Wallace, the first leader today. The pole sitter, Jeff Green, Jason Keller, and Greg Biffle have also spent time at the head of the class. But right now it's Jeff Purvis who's the class of the field. We'll be back at Pikes Peak. As predicted, plenty of action up front here at Pikes Peak. Lap 57, side-by-side battle. Greg Biffle got underneath Jeff Green to take the lead. But just a few laps later, lap 73, Green came right back. Biffle's handling starting to go away in the 60 car, and Green took over. Lap 85, another lead change. Jason Keller, by far the fastest car on the track at the time, rolling underneath his teammate Green for the point. But on lap 127, Jeff Purvis had picked up the steam in that red-white machine. He was able to work to the outside of Keller down into turn 1 and take over the point. And that's where we are right now. Jeff Purvis in command with 100 miles to go here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. You know, NBC's Fear Factor and Weakest Link are 2 of the summer's hottest hits. And Monday night, starting at 8, 7 Central Time, NBC brings you 2 brand new episodes. A new Fear Factor, followed by a new Weakest Link, plus Dateline, Monday at 8, 7 Central on NBC. And Purvis, boy, what a boost it would be to a driver like Jeff Purvis, who lost his ride a few weeks ago, if he can bring that 21 car home to victory lane today.
That's sometimes an inspiration, that loss of job.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Well, we documented at the top of the broadcast how Purvis and Tim Fedewa essentially in the same situation. Fedewa left his longtime ride with C.C. Welliver earlier. He's now driving the Buckshot 00, back in 11th spot after having to come out of pit road for a stop-and-go penalty earlier in the action after the first round of pit stops. Meanwhile, working slowly back toward the top 10. A good run for that team today. Purvis, though, meantime, after having Joe Gibbs say, guys, I can't do it anymore without a sponsor. I've got to sit the team down. Purvis sat for a couple of weeks, jumped into the 21 car when Mike Skinner got hurt, and he is turning in a great ride here today. Around Elton Sawyer's machine. Ride with Hank Parker Jr. in the 36 car, another of the C.C. Welliver Chevrolets. Hank back in 26th spot.
Hank being a fisherman, his dad being a fisherman, that GNC live well, I think that's live well. I believe he's got a live well on board that car.
Rode out here with Hank Sr., the famous bass fisherman, this weekend. Very proud of his young son. Hank Jr. doing a terrific job here in the NASCAR Busch Series. They're struggling this weekend. Talked to him for a moment yesterday, and they just haven't really found the answer here at this racetrack this weekend. Jeffrey Bodine on pit road with 100 miles to go. Right side tires and fuel. And they'll come around and put the second pair of tires on that machine on the left side. This should be the final pit stop of the day, and it may well be a round of green flag pit stops coming. Jeffrey, of course, for years of the Busch Series, a standout, 6 career victories. You know, he survived that huge wreck in a NASCAR Craftsman truck at Daytona a couple of winters back. Took him a long time to mend from that. And he told me earlier he really went through a period where he wasn't sure if he ever wanted to drive again. After a couple of months of healing on the sideline, he said, yeah, I do want to do this. And back with Frank Stacey and Scott Welliver, his owners from years ago, they're all from upstate New York. Found a home here in the Busch Series for now, although I think he wants to get back to Winston Cup racing if possible.
Well, I talked to Jeff several times this weekend, and one thing they're working on, he's working on a deal with his brother, with Brett, to try to have a two-car Winston Cup team. They're trying to get a sponsor lined up. They think they possibly have something in the works for that. And you're right, after you sustain a wreck like that, you have to do a little soul searching. You got to think about it. You know, is this really what I want to do? He did a couple runs. He said, yes, it is what I want to do. So here he is.
And it's good to see him back. Purvis, meantime, in the 21, continuing to lead. Strong down the front straightaway. Driving away. Jason Keller rides second. Jeff Green remains third. Jimmy Johnson is fourth in line. And Greg Biffle somehow managing to keep the 60 car in fifth. And Kevin Harvick is sixth in the deuce. And we haven't checked in on him in a little while, but we will, I'm sure, shortly. As we watch Purvis down into turn 3. The gap between first and second, almost 6 seconds now. The 21 of Purvis back to Keller at 57.
And I don't know how Biffle's still on this racetrack, much less running fifth. And you're talking about, you know, Harvick being right behind him, and right behind that, of course, Kenny Wallace, who also we talked about really needing a victory for his team.
And on pit road, Chad Little brings the Base Motorsports Chevrolet, Bill Baumgartner's team.
Well, while we were looking at all that good stuff, guess what? Biffle just did get into the wall in turn 4.
Aha.
Not bad. He scraped the side pretty good, though.
We knew that was bound to happen sooner or later. Biffle in the 60 gives up a spot there to Kenny Wallace, will ride with the 60 team.
Boy, this is when you need a crew chief. You need a corner man talking you through it, saying, come on, man, you only need a few more laps before you get the fuel. You know, just slow up a little bit. You're going to do good. We'll get you fixed. We'll get you fixed.
And the 74 with difficulties. The jack has fallen. They've got to use a wrecking bar, a lift bar, to try to get that thing up. There it is. You can see the bodywork bent on the left rear corner, and they need to raise it again. Let's take a look and see what happened. They've fueled the car. Right side tires have gone on, trying to jack up the left side of the car. The jack gave way, and the tire came off, so Little was trying to drive off with no left rear tire, so they had to get another jack. Raise the car back up again.
Boy, they're real lucky everybody was out from underneath that car when that jack went down.
Pit road accidents do happen, and there's the leverage being applied underneath the rear axle of the machine to get that tire put on, and Chad is back on the racetrack, rolling underneath the 21 car, so it shows you, even with that incident on pit road, what fresh rubber will do at this stage of the race.
He's also got some adrenaline going inside that cockpit. I tell you, that makes you a little aggravated with that.
So problems for the base team. Purvis, meantime, with a huge lead. And we've got less than 90 miles to go. Glenn Jarrett, what's the situation on pit road?
Well, we've got a lot of cars coming in right now. Kenny Wallace, the pole sitter, is in. I see the 00 car up ahead of him, 10 feet away. Let's talk to Gil Martin. He's the crew chief on the leading car, Jeff Purvis. Gil, you're having a great run. A lot of cars are coming in now. What do you guys do to stop?
We'll probably stop in about 5 or 6 laps, about lap 167. Jeff's doing a great job in his Rockwell Automation car today. It's been pretty good all weekend, and we'll stop here in about 7 laps and go the whole way.
I can't imagine you're going to make any changes to this race car.
I don't think so. We were a little bit loose at the beginning of the run, but the car comes in after about 30 laps.
Okay, guys, somewhere around lap 170, we should see the leader, Jeff Purvis, in the pits.
That is 8 laps from right now as Purvis brings it down the main straightaway, closing in on Andy Santerre, the 11th car. Now, Santerre was up in the top 10 and looked strong earlier. He's back to 12th right now. This is how strong the 21 is, Dorsey. He has just put the 11th place car a lap down.
And for a car to run a 250-mile race without having any adjustment of any kind made to it, it just doesn't happen. It's just about impossible for the hidden setup that perfect.
So Purvis maintains the lead, moving up on A.J. Alsop's machine, putting Santerre a lap down. We'll grab a timeout. You're watching NASCAR here on NBC. Big crowd on hand at Pikes Peak International Raceway, Fountain, Colorado. NBC on NASCAR. The NAPA AutoCare 250 today. Glad to have you with us. 80 miles to go, and problems for Clay Rogers. The 17 car has clouded the wall. You see the smoke showing off the right rear fender of that machine. Well, maybe he didn't belt the wall. I thought he had gotten up into the fence there, but it looks like it might be an engine problem.
Yeah, I think he got a motor coming out of turn 2 up there. He felt something, moved the race car up into the high line, out of everybody's way. We saw a little smoke there, and he got stuck up there for a while. He's going to the garage. I think his day is over.
Didn't see the sheet metal damage I expected to. I saw the car dive down from the way high side there and thought perhaps that Rogers had gotten into the wall with that machine, but not at all. Looks like a motor problem will land Robbie Reiser's Chevrolet team their day here at Pikes Peak. So watching the 00, Tim Fedua. Fedua had problems on pit road a few moments ago as we watch the battle for second now starting to heat up. The 10 car. Jeff Green moving around Jason Keller in the 57. Will ride with Keller down the backstretch.
Come on, Jason. Come.
See a little wave he gave right there to a driver behind him.
Here, 5,000. Let me know, Shannon.
He's coming in the pits. He's telling him, I'm coming in the pits. That's what that wave was. He says, I'm coming down.
He and his teammate Green running second and third both come to pit road.
Talking about 5,000 RPM.
And the leader is in as well, Glenn Jarrett.
And this will be his final pit stop, or hopefully so. There are only about 80 laps to go. This time on the green flag conditions, they ran 102 laps. So they can easily make the 79 laps that are left in the race now. A 4-tire change, as Gil Martin told us, no changes whatsoever. And that was a great pit stop, man. The guys are psyched. They're happy about this. Here's Ralph.
Jason Keller is in his pit stall. One tire starts to slide away a little bit. Jason's car's been very loose, keeping an eye on this one tire to make sure it doesn't get too far away so they don't get a penalty. 24-1 on the pit for them. A little bit slower than they would have liked.
Yeah, about 3 seconds slower than the stop for Purvis. And a moment or so ago, Kevin Harvick came in, and they knocked off a 16-second stop. Riding with Greg Biffle. Randy Goss's team. Oh, and Crossway's in the pit box. Ralph Sheheen.
Well, he just slid in a little bit too wide. Has got the car turned the wrong way with the nose facing out. They make an adjustment with wedge to the right side of the rear car. They changed 4 tires. Randy Goss to crew chief, marking out the orders. The fuel is just about done, and he's away in 18.9, a much quicker stop. Let's see now if he can make anything up out on the racetrack.
Did you see the brake there?
Yeah.
You're taking a look at. Now remember, that's the right rear brake you're looking at, and that brake's only doing about 30% of the work. Should have been on the front. Man, that's hot.
Now they only took 18.9 seconds on pit road. It didn't seem like they had time to make any serious adjustments on it.
He got in too hot for sure. You saw that. He sort of locked up, got side. Look at him on the straightaway right here.
Elton Sawyer on pit road for a regular pit stop. 77 miles of racing to go.
See him shaking the wheel going down the straightaway. He's trying to get a little heat in that tire before he gets to that corner and see way out.
The Aikens Motorsports team going to work. 4 tires and fuel. Little adjustment up top there. See with a wrench through the back window on the track bar. And now reaching inside. Problems evidently inside that machine. And this will be a long stop for Elton Sawyer. 8th in Busch Series points. Sawyer mired deep in the field today. 30th spot for Elton Sawyer, and this will not help him. Here are how some of the leaders did during this pit stop sequence. Purvis with the quickest time on pit road by far. Biffle and Keller a little bit behind. So Purvis with the fastest race car gained a couple of seconds in the exchange.
Yeah, that's tough when you're the second fastest race car and you see that. You know, hey, he's faster than me on the racetrack, and those guys just beat me out of the pit on top of it.
And since these are green flag stops, not everyone came out of pit road at the same time, so it'll take a little while for things to cycle around. Right now, the lead car is Purvis. Here comes McLaughlin. Mike McLaughlin on pit road. He was 4th before swinging the 18 machine down onto pit lane. Watching the pit road speed limit, 45 miles an hour here at Pikes Peak today. Ralph Sheheen is there.
Pike slides to a stop. They're going to make a chassis adjustment on the right rear. 2 full rounds on the right rear. 4 tires and fuel. Everything else seems to be okay right now with the 18 of Mike McLaughlin.
Left side tires on. McLaughlin on the gas. 16-9, a very good stop for that team. And here's Kevin Harvick in the 2 car. Moving up on Jeff Green's machine. Trying to take a spot away here. Harvick being shown in 2nd, Green being shown in 3rd last time by, but Green has apparently gotten past, and he has. So Jeff Green in the 10 was in the process of passing Harvick when we came to that look at what was going on the racetrack. So now Green started to pull away.
Yeah, so whatever Jeff Green's guys have done is that he's a happy guy right now. That car's going real well.
Now Jeff Green, of course, has led this race. In fact, he's led 45 laps here today, 2 different times. Can he get up and run with Jeff Purvis after the final round of stops? It'll probably take a caution because the last time by, the gap was 8.5 seconds between Purvis and Jeff Green. Let's get downstairs and check in with Ralph.
Well, I can tell you exactly what they did with Jeff Green's car. Crew Chief Harold Hawley called out for 4 tires of fuel plus 3 rounds up on the left rear on the chassis. And they had a great stop, 17.37 seconds on the 10. So things are going real well right now for this crew.
And Green able to take that car just about anywhere he wants on the racetrack as he works lap traffic. Take a look at what Jeff Green has done this season. The defending Busch Series champion. He's 4th in points. Obviously, they're disappointed that they're not in contention right now for the title. But 2 wins, 15 top 10s. That's a very strong year.
Mark, you see him just go around everybody like they weren't even out there. He went all the way to top 3 wide. And that car just like on a rail.
Green, yeah, doing a great job in 2nd spot, moving around Randy Tolson's machine. Green flag pit stops continuing. Less than 70 miles to go here at Pikes Peak. Kevin Harvick's team, Jason Keller's team, all made big moves. We'll be back. Watching your leader, Jeff Purvis, just putting a weapon on the rest of the field here at Pikes Peak. 9.3 seconds is the lead right now for Jeff Purvis in Richard Childress' Chevrolet, the 21 car. Purvis driving that machine in relief of the injured Mike Skinner. Check your NAPA field summary as we close in on 50 miles to go. We've had 7 leaders, 9 lead changes, plenty of action today, and we're running this one at a race record pace, 118.9 miles an hour. Here's Jimmy Johnson in the 92 trying to battle his way inside Randy LaJoie, high-siding the machine of Jeffrey Bodine. Right behind the 54, Kelly Denton. 4 wide, coming up from turn 2. He bumped the 54 out of the way to get through.
I hate to tell you, they were 5 wide laps. 1 lap ago, they got 5 wide for a minute. That's almost impossible. They have done this now for 2 laps, folks.
Now, this is not for position. Johnson in the 92 car is 5th. All those other machines at least 1 lap down. Jimmy said, hey, guys, I got to get through. I'm trying to catch up to these leaders. Randy LaJoie in the Kleenex 7, of course, the winner in Daytona out of South Norwalk, Connecticut. 2-time NASCAR Busch Series champion. 6 top 10s on the season for Randy, but they have been struggling of late. And they are struggling here today. The 7 car back in 18th spot. Among the gaggle of cars a lap down, only 10 cars remain on the lead lap here at Pikes Peak. We've only had 1 caution today. And that for the Joe Busch wreck earlier when Busch backed into the wall. And he's back in competition. They fixed the back end of the race car, and he's back out there.
You look at these cars. There's 5, 6 cars there running identical lap times, and not one of them on the same line as any other. They're all over the racetrack from top to bottom.
It's definitely pick your poison here today.
Well, it just tells you what the car's doing. You know, some of these guys are tight, some of them are loose. Everybody's moving around.
Jeffrey Bodine in the 66, Randy LaJoie in the 7th, couple of Northeasterners. Jeffrey able to take the 66 car down a couple of lanes, but LaJoie quick on the high side.
We're talking about a 1-groove racetrack. This ain't it.
And you've got Andy Santerra in the 11 and the 26 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. battling for 13th and 14th. Santerra has the upper hand right now. That battle a moment ago with the 7 car and the 66, that was for 18th spot.
You got 10 cars on the lead lap, and that 21 car that's leading the thing overall is putting 0.2 of a second on them every single lap. It's unbelievable.
Well, we've got great action everywhere around this beautiful 1-mile racetrack. Bobby Hamilton Jr. His dad, of course, will be in the field tomorrow at Pocono, the Pennsylvania 500. Bobby Jr. with his first Winston Cup start. Drove the Andy Petrie 33 car at Talladega back earlier this year. Joe Nemechek had to miss a couple of races when he was injured in a testing wreck.
It bodes well at this racetrack, how good a racetrack this is. If these cars can be this loose and so many of them in close proximity, and we haven't had a big problem today.
Not at all. Well, I think it's because it's so smooth and wide here. You've got a lot of room to use if you have problems with the race car.
Every driver I talked to this weekend said they love running here. It's just a gas to drive down the race, you know, get the car in the corner that hard, and then have all the room in the world to catch it if something goes wrong.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. in 14th spot. You saw his finish earlier this year at Rockingham back in the spring. Out of turn 4. There's Purvis still out in front of the 21. Dominating, coming up on the 200 lap mark shortly. There'll be 50 to go, and it's Purvis 9 seconds ahead of Jeff Green, another 2 seconds back to Kevin Harvick. And we'll show you Harvick here in a moment in the 2 car. He rides 3rd. We jump on board the AC Delco Chevrolet down the back chute. Remember that Harvick at the drop of the green was 43rd. His car qualified this weekend by Ed Barrier. Under NASCAR rules, you have to take that car to the back of the pack for the green flag. Harvick right through the field quickly. Stopped his progress at about 10th spot. He has been very patient, but you know it did inform Dorsey on the last pit stop. They came in 6th. Great service by the Richard Childress crew. They came off pit road 3rd, and Harvick's able to keep that car there.
And you know, Kevin Harvick loves running on the bottom. I always talk about him being on the white line. Watch the race car. It's too tight. He's going to drive it down on the bottom here. Right there, it gives up. See there, understeer? There's the push. It's headed up the hill now. He can't stop it. He's got to stay out of the throttle a long time. Now he starts blending some throttle. And I've been watching the car. Watch when he gets down here. He cannot get the car to the bottom of the racetrack. It just skates away on him.
Harvick lapping by Chase Sauter in the 43.
There it goes. Headed up the hill. There's not a thing in the world he can do about it.
Sauter is 15th. And he goes another lap down to the leaders.
That's a great look at understeer, folks, right there. You see it starting to push away. Keep your eyes on that white line to the left. That's where you'd like to be. That's where he'd like to be, but the race car just won't go.
Now, what if he were to stay high on his entry into the corner, higher than he is now, and try to cut down and make a shorter apex in the middle of the turn? What would that do?
You could do that, but unfortunately, it usually loosens you up on the exit. You know, you talk about these cars being tight and loose and so forth. There's a term we always use about camber on the wheel, or negative cambers. They put in the front of these cars. This is what that is, folks. The camber on the wheels, when you look at the wheel, it's tilted in. You tilt it in, and the reason for it being the contact that what meets the road, it looks like that when you're in the straightaway. But when you come on that banking, see what happens? It goes all the way across. You get all that rubber on the racetrack, gives you a lot more grip.
Helps the car turn into the corner and then drive off the corner onto the straightaway. And exit speed out of a corner is very important to quick lap times. And right now, the quickest lap times of all being posted by this guy, Jeff Purvis, wheeling the Richard Childress Chevrolet.
I talked to Kenny Wallace about driving this racetrack earlier the week, and he told me that, you know, I said, which end is tougher? Which end is faster? He goes, it depends on which end you did better at. He goes, if you're better in turn 1 and 2, then you get down to 3 and 4 with so much speed, you have trouble there. But if you get 3 and 4 right, then you get trouble in turn 1 and 2. But it's a lot of fun for everybody. He said, it's a blast to drive here.
Watching Jeff Purvis build that lead, now 10.3 seconds over Jeff Green. Let's try to find the second place car. Yeah, I think he's in the same zip code.
And just barely.
Not yet. There he is. And it's really a good situation for Jeff Green because he will do well here today.
Well, all these guys from Harvick back won a caution. Everybody wants to come in and try to get something because that 21 is just too fast.
And our minus 200-mile checkup. 7 leaders, 9 lead changes. Average speed on pace to set a new track record here, 119.291 miles an hour. Only 1 caution for 4 laps. There's 10 cars behind the wall with less than 50 miles of racing to go. This one, though, completely under the control of Jeff Purvis at this point. We're at Pikes Peak International Raceway. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Tomorrow on TNT, the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Ricky Rudd is 3rd in the Winston Cup standings. Tomorrow he starts from the front row. Last time NASCAR ran Pocono in June, Ricky Rudd was in victory lane for the first time in 3 years. The drama of NASCAR continues tomorrow on TNT starting at 12:30 Eastern Time. Glad to have you along here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. I'm Rick Benjamin with Dorsey Schroeder. Jeff Purvis out of Clarksville, Tennessee, driving for Richard Childress Racing in relief of the injured Mike Skinner. Now, Greg Biffle in the 60 car, who has led earlier, has won a Truck Series event here, lapping by Kerry Earnhardt in the 99. Biffle at the moment back in 6th. That car has been an evil handler since about the 50 lap mark. Let's show you just how evil it's handling right now. Coming off the 4th turn, or coming into the 4th turn, listen to this.
Who's there? It's the wall.
Just somebody tapping on the door.
You know, you heard him lift. He knew he was going to get into the wall. What you try to do when that happens is get the front wheel straight. Try to get the steering out of it. So if the tire's sticking out from the fender well, you're going to hit on that and bend the tire out in on. So what he tried to do right there is get the car straightened up, so he just took it on the door. Listen to this. There. I mean, it's just so close.
No 3-wall carom shot that time for Biffle, who continues in 6th.
Well, it's an indication that, you know, he's running a high line and the car's got tight on him. He knew he was going to brush the wall. He did the right thing. He squared up on it and just...
Hey, nice flat. That's better than the leader right there.
Down the back straightaway here.
Of course, that was his crew chief telling him the line he's on is a good line. Said you're faster than the leader on that lap right there. So he's trying to tell him, stay right where you're at.
And what's going to hurt Biffle here today as we watch Purvis lapping by Tim Fedewa in the 00. Now, Fedewa is 10th. After coming back from that pit road difficulty earlier, Purvis is going to put the 10th place car a lap down.
He doesn't want to go a lap down, though. He said, no, don't do that to me. Fighting hard not to go a lap down.
Fedewa, as we told you at the top of the broadcast, this is more or less a catch drive for Tim. The Buckshot Racing team putting Tim in this car for a couple of races. It appears they may not run past Michigan, which is a few weeks away, without some sponsorship help. Tim would love to stay in this race car. He's qualified up front.
He's hoping to stay on the lead lap and get some caution so he can make the car a little bit better, but it's not going to happen.
Fedewa working with a pickup front tire changer this weekend. His regular front tire changer's wife is giving birth this weekend, so a little change in the crew for the 00 team. And that did apparently hold them up on pit road. Taking a look at the 63 car, Shane Hall's machine. 63 back in 31st spot. Let's get an update. Let's go to Ralph Sheheen.
Well, you know, Rick, some of the danger in NASCAR racing isn't just out on the racetrack, it's on pit road as well. Now, most of the tire carriers and crew members on pit road will wear these protective gloves when they're carrying these tires over the wall. Well, Leo Harris, the tire carrier for Shane Hall in the Lance Snacks number 63, when he swung the tire up underneath the wheel well, the jack fell. And guess what? Leo's hand got caught up underneath the wheel well, and Leo almost lost his fingers here today.
Ouch. Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
That's not good. I don't like that.
It is full contact on pit road, no doubt about it.
I'll tell you what, those wheels and tires are 90 pounds each, and they throw them around like they were nothing.
You've got to be in shape. Most of the teams now have strength and conditioning coaches, just like an NFL team would have, so that their guys are ready for over-the-wall duty on race day. All struggling in that 63 car, the Hensley Racing machine. Your leader continues to be Purvis, 12 seconds ahead of Jeff Green. Glenn Jarrett, I don't think you could write a better script for Jeff Purvis here this weekend.
You're exactly right, Rick, particularly when the guy's looking for a job. You know, the odd thing about this race team is they have had 6 different race drivers in this car this year. It started out with Mike Dillon, who you can see in the box there. He started out, he got hurt at Bristol, ended his career. Then came Mike Skinner, Robbie Gordon, Travis Quapple, Ted Christopher, and now Jeff Purvis. Now, I asked Mike Dillon, he is still with the team. I asked him what his official function is. He told me he is the son-in-law, the official son-in-law. Of course, his father-in-law is the car owner, Richard Childress, so that's a pretty good job.
One you're not likely to get fired from, no matter what happens on the racetrack. Watching Purvis on the back straightaway. 36 laps to go at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Purvis leads Jeff Green and Kevin Harvick. We'll be back. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series NAPA AutoCare 250 is being brought to you today by NAPA Auto Parts. NAPA, we keep America running. By Stride Guard insoles. Take more impact in Stride. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? Welcome back to NASCAR on NBC. We're in Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado for the NASCAR Busch Series today. The story has been Jeff Purvis picking up the ride just a short time ago after Mike Skinner got injured. Purvis has dominated the second half of the show today here in the NAPA AutoCare 250. Working by Brad Baker in the 28 car. His lead substantial, upwards of 10 seconds a short time ago. Greg Biffle in the 60 car. Of course, we're watching the battle for the NASCAR Busch Series championship. Biffle trying to hold off Jimmy Johnson in the 92 machine there. That is for 5th spot. Biffle starting to pick up the pace just a little bit. But in front of those two cars, Kevin Harvick rides third. He's the point leader. And right now, Biffle has lost 5 points unofficially as things currently stand. So this result will not help Biffle at all in his battle to try to close in on Harvick and maybe make a run at the NASCAR Busch Series title in his rookie season. And we'll show you how things stack up right now. Starting today, Biffle was 158 markers back. As things run at the moment, if the checkered flag were to fall now, Biffle would be 163 behind. Jason Keller wouldn't have gained any ground, but he wouldn't have lost any either. He would remain 178 back. Take a ride with Kevin Harvick sitting third in Richard Childress' 2 car. Not a bad outing for the Childress team. First and third with less than 30 laps to go.
No, but I watched the car go through that corner, and you know, you always hope the car just fixes itself. It hasn't. It's still real tight. Now he's down on the white line. Boy, he turned in real early, got down to the bottom that time. But you see how he had the saw on the wheel right there. Watch here now, when he gets down here to 3, he'll try to go down low. The car will not do it. He gets down there early in the corner, and right about here it says, nope, I go this way. I like it up here.
Up ahead of Harvick, here's Jeff Green, the defending race champion here at Pikes Peak, and the defending series champ in that yellow Ford Taurus from the PPC stables. The leader now, so Green fighting hard to stay in second spot, but Ralphie's not gaining any ground at all on the 21 car.
Now they're doing everything they can, Rick, but they're just kind of stuck right where they are right now. Purvis seems to be too strong. You know, I spoke to crew chief Harold Hawley yesterday, and he's an avid outdoorsman, so coming to Colorado was something he had greatly been looking forward to. So the first thing he did when he got here to the racetrack, once they got done with everything at the track, was to head off into the hills for a nice ride up to take a look at some beautiful waterfalls. Well, along the way, a gigantic doe walked out from the woods and stood right next to Harold's car. He said it's been the most stressed out he's been all weekend long because he couldn't find the camera.
That's a story that no one may believe. The big one that got away. Jeff Green doing a nice job here today. Wasn't sure, told me earlier this morning, wasn't sure how they would approach today. Hope they found something in happy hour yesterday, and they did. They improved the car quite a bit, but not nearly enough to contend with Purvis at this point. As you can see, 13 seconds away from the leader right now with the laps winding down. Meantime, your leader is Purvis with 25 to go. Coming out of the second corner, swinging around Randy Tolzman in the 25 car. Jeff Purvis just needs to hang on. This would be a huge win for the driver from Tennessee. What kind of a day has it been so far for Jeff Purvis from Clarksville, Tennessee? Pretty darn good. Lap 113. Moving to the lead inside of Jeff Green coming off turn 2. And Purvis in his march to the front on lap 127 had to make this 3-wide move to get by Jason Keller and establish himself at the point. And Purvis has built the lead to 14.2 seconds now over Jeff Green, who's second. Kevin Harvick third. Keller is fourth. Biffle is fifth. Jimmy Johnson is sixth. Purvis is the track record holder here, although in a different race car. He's on his way. A couple of fifths, hoping to add a victory to his NASCAR resume. Purvis already has picked up the bonus points for the most laps led today. Most laps he's led this season, and that has to put a smile, Glenn Jarrett, on the face of his car owner.
Well, I think so, Rick. That, you know, we showed you the official father-in-law of the 21 car. Of course, that would be Richard Childress. Richard, I know you came out here to watch Kevin Harvick from Pocono, but man, your other driver is putting on quite a show. He's got a half a lap lead.
Yeah, Jeff and Gil Martin, all the guys on the Rockwell cars doing a great job. Kevin is too. We just missed it a little bit here, and but you know, we'll see how it ends up.
You got to be awfully proud of him, and Purvis is making a strong case for somebody to put him in a race car full time.
Yeah, Jeff's a good driver. I tell you, we looked at him when he got out of that ride, and there wasn't a question who we were going to put in the 21.
Well, he certainly made the right choice here today. You and Kevin heading back to Pocono as soon as this is over?
Yeah, as soon as it's over, we'll head out.
All right, good luck to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Quite a weekend for Richard Childress Racing. Meantime, let's take a look at the battle for 12th spot. Jamie McMurray in the 27. The 11 of Andy Santerre, 13th, trying to get inside the lap car. Brad Baker couldn't do it, had to back out of the gas. That lets McMurray go away.
I don't know that Baker knew that Santerre was there. He got a little run up there, and he thought, no, I don't want to wreck my car. It is his car. He is the owner, so.
Very true, although in the colors of the Highline Performance Group this weekend with the Channel Lock sponsorship on that car. Hey, who's going to win the Pennsylvania 500 NASCAR Winston Cup round tomorrow? The polls stay open till 12:45 Eastern time on Sunday. Log on now to NASCAR.com and cast your vote. It'll be hard to bet against Ricky Rudd tomorrow, I'll tell you. Starts on the front row, won there back in June. Very strong race team, but you know Jeff Gordon, who is so good at Pocono, Dale Jarrett, who's won there. It'll be a dandy show, I'm sure, tomorrow on TNT. Down into turn 1 again. Your leader, Purvis in the 21. Kenny Wallace, the pole sitter, on the 48. Now Wallace is 9th, Dorsey. He's going to go a lap down. There'll be 8 cars remaining on the lead lap. Unbelievable.
It is totally unbelievable. That 21 car is just, I mean, he goes anywhere he needs to. Goes to the bottom, goes to the top, drives around.
A couple of notes we want to pass on to you. A good run from Kenny Wallace today, considering the fact that he ran out of fuel coming to pit road for his first stop of the day. So they had to push the car, get it refired, cost him a lot of time. Still running in the top 10, though. A good outing for George Thibodeau's team. And Randy LaJoie, we showed him a couple of times earlier from Connecticut, the 2-time Busch Series champ. His day is done. Apparently, severe car, perhaps a motor problem in the 7. He took the car directly behind the wall about 30 laps ago. As we take a look at Purvis, working all alone. Let's ride with Hank Parker Jr. here for a moment. Coming off turn 4, onto the front stretch. 24th spot. And when you're back that far in the pack, Dorsey, you've got a lot of things to contend with. A car that's probably not working very well, plus traffic all around you all the time.
Yeah, that's the problem. When you have a car that's off a little bit, you fall victim to all the fray of the, the vultures are on you. You're trying not to wreck, but they're all around you, taking your racing room away. You see that happen all the time, so it's a miserable feeling.
Working up to the back bumper of the Aaron's Wrench Chevrolet, Michael Waltrip's car, being driven this weekend by Kerry Earnhardt.
Of course, the opposite end of that is exactly what Jeff Purvis is feeling, which is a car so good that he'll only have a car like that maybe twice in his whole career, where you have a car so dominant that you can do a race like he's doing today. It just doesn't happen.
Purvis just waxing the field, coming up on 10 laps to go in a couple of moments. Purvis working through turns 3 and 4 on a sun-drenched afternoon in Fountain, Colorado. We're about 15 miles south of Colorado Springs and probably about 90 miles south of Denver. That was your leader going by. Let's take a look at the gap back to Jeff Green in second.
The bad news is it's 15 seconds. You know what that means on the racetrack, don't you?
Almost a half a lap indeed at the start-finish line. Here comes the 10 car.
So he can go down the straightaway and look across the infield and see the car he's trying to catch. That's not a good thing to do.
And he's losing ground. I mean, Purvis, with that huge lead, is still knocking off some of the quickest laps we're seeing here today, and is opening up the advantage on Green. Harvick in 3rd spot, Jason Keller in 4th, Greg Biffle in 5th, and the 6th place runner, the 34 of David Green, who's got a very good run going today. Quietly, we haven't talked about David much at all today. We'll try to show you the blue 34 car. Aqua Velva colors on that machine out of the C.C. Welliver stables here this weekend, but former Busch Series champion who has had a difficult season as well.
Boy, and remember the show they put on last year?
Yeah.
The Green brothers, boy, duking it out right there to the end, just about.
And how about that number? Purvis leading 111 laps, now 112 today. That is more than he had led all season long during his tenure in the Joe Gibbs machine, the 20 car. Purvis still 12th in NASCAR Busch Series points, even though he missed a couple of weeks when that team shut down.
Well, it's unbelievable to have a car like this under you right now. I guarantee you he's saying something's going to go wrong. Doggone it, please don't. He's praying. He's going, please don't have a flat tire. Please don't blow this motor up. You know, just keep me alive for 10 more laps. Nobody can touch me. He knows that. He knows nobody on the racetrack can touch him. 8
laps remaining here at Pikes Peak International Raceway for Jeff Purvis out of Clarksville, Tennessee. Richard Childress's 21 car.
Pressure's off right now. And, you know, he knows the lead he's got. They're talking to him. He's got a great race car under him. All that can go wrong is the inevitable, something out of your control, and that's what he's looking out for right now. He will not take chances in this traffic. You see Grubb up in front of him right there. If he gets up to him, he'll give him a lot of room.
And Grubb in the 37 is running in 8th spot on the lead lap. Here's the 6th place driver, David Green, the C.C. Welliver Chevrolet, the 34 car. Quietly, David with a good run to 6th today. Another driver whose future may be in some question. David perhaps auditioning for his next opportunity next year. 14th to 6th quietly, but a very good run for the former Busch Series champion. Working around Shane Hall's wounded 63 car. Nice and smooth and back. Let's check in on the leaders. Purvis not yet up to the back deck lid of Grubb's machine. And maybe, just maybe, Jeff has decided, I'm going to back it down just a little bit with 5 to go.
Absolutely. He's saying right now, you know, no need to take any risk. If something happens up here, I need some room to maneuver.
Giving Kevin Grubb plenty of room in the 37. Now, Grubb ran 3rd last week. He ran up in the top 5 earlier here today. Sits 8th right now. Not a bad outing for that Bruco team, but not the kind of day they certainly wanted to have. Let's check in on Kevin Harvick in the 2-car. The series point leader, winner last week at Gateway, trying to track down Jeff Green for 2nd spot in the waning moments. Less than a second behind now. There'll be 4 to go next time by. What do you think, Dorsey?
Well, this is the race for sure, no question about it. It's going to be for 2nd, no doubt. You look right there, the 10. Jeff Green up high. The car must be pretty tight. Harvick, we've seen his car has been tight, but he was lower that time.
Up high now. Harvick turning down low in the 1st and 2nd turn to gain some ground.
Right there with him, 1 back. You're beating him off the corner. 2 back.
Spotter talking to Jeff Green.
Yeah, he didn't need to hear that. He already knew that.
Think he knows? Think he can see him in his mirror?
Yeah, he knows he's back there, all right.
And if Jeff Green is going to have any hope of contending for the national championship this year in the NASCAR Busch Series, he needs to finish in front of Harvick a lot of weeks, not just today.
This is going to come down to the 2 cars in front of him right there. You see Jeff Green about to catch 2 cars, and depending on if he can get through that cleanly or not, and Harvick's going to have the easier way to go, being the 2nd car back.
Coming to the white flag next time by. Out in front, Purvis in the 21 car. Down the back straightaway, he'll pick up the white flag in just half a lap. Purvis gunning for his 3rd career win in the NASCAR Busch Series. Still riding behind the 37 of Kevin Grubb onto the front stretch. White flag is in the air. That battle for 2nd, though, continues to rage. Here's Harvick trying to complete a last to 2nd drive today, a week after he went last to 1st at Gateway. Jeff Green staying on the throttle in the 10 car. Checkered flag will be in the air momentarily for your leader. Jeff Purvis on his way to his 1st victory in 2001. Here's the checkered flag. Your winner is Jeff Purvis out of Clarksville, Tennessee. Now let's get you to the battle for 2nd. Riding with Harvick. One last bid to the inside.
He's down there.
Through 3 and 4. Jeff Green moves down the block.
Dig hard, dig hard, dig hard.
Harvick will try to go high now.
You got him. Awesome job. Awesome job.
Jeff Green, spotter telling him awesome job for digging low down at the bottom of the racetrack. Let's go downstairs to Ralph Sheheen.
Well, Gil Martin, the crew chief, is sitting on top of the pit box. Gil, a tremendous race. Why was this car so dominant here today?
I tell you, this Rockwell Automation team has worked so hard, and Jeff did such a great job for us. But I tell you, this team's put on a great effort all year long, and this car has finished great all year long with Mike Skinner, and we brought the car here because we knew it was going to be a good race car, and I'm just so happy with this team, I can't believe it.
Well, Jeff Purvis has been looking for a full-time ride. Has he found one, do you think?
Well, I don't know about that, but Jeff's done a great job, and anybody that would put him on would sure they would get a great driver. And I got to say hello to my son Ford at home, and all these guys, Richard, Rockwell, Goodyear, Winnebago, everybody's been with us. Hey, snap on, thanks.
They got a lot of celebrating to do, Rick.
And they've got good reason to celebrate. Maybe no one more than Jeff Purvis, who's just won his 1st NASCAR Busch Series race in 5 years. We'll talk to him when we come back to Pikes Peak.
And Jeff Purvis crosses out of the 21 car, and we get absolutely drowned as usual. Oh my goodness. This is his 3rd career NASCAR Busch Series victory, his 1st since 1996 in August. Jeff Purvis, come on down here, man. What a great run today. You just flat had him covered.
Man, I tell you what, this Richard Childers team's got their stuff together. I hadn't driven a race car like that in a long, long time, and didn't know if I ever would again. And I just want to thank Richard and Rockwell and everybody, and Ted Brandt and the Brandt family. I mean, you know, it's a great deal. Thanks, Doug. It's just a great deal, you know. I wanted to be the one to put this car in the winner's circle if anybody could, and they told me I could yesterday, and I felt like I could, and it's a great race car.
Well, he certainly did, and only his second chance in this car. He put it in victory lane, and now he's going to celebrate, and we're going back up top to Rick Benjamin before I get drowned.
Almost needed to snorkel in a wetsuit down there, Glenn Jarrett. Congratulations indeed to Jeff Purvis and the Richard Childress crew. Show you the unofficial top 10 here at Pikes Peak today. Purvis, the winner by 16 seconds over Jeff Green. Kevin Harvick couldn't quite get there for second spot. Jason Keller is fourth, and Greg Biffle. Good comeback for Biffle after bouncing off the wall a couple of times. David Green, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Grubb, Kenny Wallace, the pole sitter, and Tim Fedua, who struggled on pit road. They were both a lap down, but they do finish in the top 10. So great afternoon of action here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. A reminder, NASCAR racing continues on TNT tomorrow afternoon. The running of the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. The NASCAR Winston Cup Tour. Todd Bodine and Ricky Rudd are on the front row, and our coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern Time. Coming up tonight on NBC at 9, 8 Central, the cult classic Fast Times at Ridgemont High, starring Sean Penn. So for Dorsey Schroeder, Glenn Jarrett, and Ralph Sheheen, I'm Rick Benjamin, saying so long from Pikes Peak International Raceway, congratulating Jeff Purvis and the Richard Childress Racing crew, the winners of the NAPA AutoCare 250. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time here on NBC.